News Channel.
Good morning. Fewer than 1 in 10 asylum seekers are being deported.
That's according to the National Audit Office's 3-year investigation, which has found that Labour's approach to migration is unrealistic and accommodation is causing significant cost to the taxpayer.
Well, actually, it's more than I thought were being deported, but there we go. The report was heavily critical of the Home Office, stating that robust data gathering was not a priority for them. There was a culture of tolerating and working around data that is not fit.
The findings, of course, raise fresh questions about the effectiveness of the government's immigration policies and any hope of fixing the mounting crisis.
The first serving member of British Armed Forces has been killed in Ukraine. The MOD has confirmed he died in what has been described as a tragic accident while watching the Ukrainian military test a new weapon.
Well, it comes as Ukraine is preparing to present a revised peace plan to the White House as it seeks to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia.
The Home Secretary has appointed Baroness Longfield to lead the national inquiry into grooming gangs.
A danger to life weather warning is still in place as Storm Bram batters Britain with a month's worth of rain and winds of up to 90 miles per hour.
Moment to think over 20 years how much has kind of changed and been achieved by all of you. You know, the Centerpoint family is one I'm very proud to be a part of, and I can't thank you all for the hard work every day you all give.
Prince William marking 20 years as patron of youth homeless charity Centerpoint.
And with just 15 days until Christmas, we're going to be joined by the man who makes the day so special for everyone around the world. Father Christmas himself joins GB News Breakfast.
We got Father Christmas today.
We do have.
Tell me about Father Christmas coming.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans show whose side they're on between Mo Salah and manager Arne Slot as they beat Inter Milan at the San Siro. Heung-min Son returns to say his goodbyes to Spurs fans as they beat Slavia Prague 3-0. And not so good for Chelsea as they lose to Atalanta.
The strongest winds and the heaviest rain from Storm Bram has now started to clear, but it is still going to be potentially stormy across some parts of Scotland today. We'll have more details coming up.
Hello, very good to have you on board this Wednesday morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Bad news every day, but Ellie's going to fix all that.
I think I've got a good news story.
Yes.
So you know that you talk about wanting to be a priest, or you could have been a very good priest.
Yeah.
I think I might have found a job.
I don't think he would have made a good priest.
I think he would.
I don't.
Because he's a good talker. He just talked to the
Actually, no, I'm
congregation
sure he would have been very good.
essentially what he does now, really. Just talks,
Yeah.
talk to the audience. Anyway, there's a job going at the House of Commons for the next chaplain. And it sounds like quite a good deal.
Yes.
Right? So you get £58,000 a year, but you also get a free 3-bedroom house in Pimlico.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice,
Yeah.
right? And you get a massive civil service pension and 30 days of holiday paid a year.
That's
a
not
month
bad.
off.
And are you telling me that all those heathens in the House of Commons would actually be queuing up looking for a chaplain? Or
I don't think you'd have huge amounts of work to do.
I wouldn't think you'd have huge amounts of work.
What do you do? Do they come to you or do you go to them then? How does that work, do you reckon, as a chaplain there?
I reckon you've got a nice office.
But
Yeah.
you know, it's like football clubs have chaplains.
They do, don't they?
Most
You know what? A fella came up to me at Spurs about 6 months ago and he said, by the way, is there a chaplain here? I said, I'm really not sure. And he said, because I would like to put myself forward. I'm the vicar of so-and-so,
Sure he
vicar
would.
of Dibley or whatever he was or something. And said, I said,
would be a good gig.
I said, I don't really know what I can do for you. I'm not really sure. And then off he went. That was it. So, yeah.
Spurs should have a chaplain. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You had a nice night, didn't you?
Oh, yes, yeah, with
Spurs?
Eamonn Son yesterday. Yeah, I had to he was standing in the middle of the pitch and
he's
he
a
came.
nice guy.
You know what? He's a lovely fella.
Yeah.
Multi-millionaire, big star. And, yeah, just honestly very down to
so
earth.
humble, isn't he?
Oh, he's lovely. Yeah, he's
And I'd
very
just
nice.
like to say, I was at Molyneux on
Yes, I know you were, yeah. That was
Monday
it.
night.
Oh, you had a good time, yeah.
At Wolverhampton Wanderers. And it's a few times I've been there, and such nice people. Lovely stadium,
Bless you.
nice people.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
And even though you won 4-1, they were still nice after that.
Yeah, because they weren't expecting to win at all. I thought they
Yeah.
were much better than a 4-1 scoreline.
Right, OK. So maybe there's hope.
Generous,
Not looking
yeah.
good at the moment.
Yeah, there we are. Let's
Anyway,
get into
so
the news.
That's all our
this morning.
updates.
That's our updates. And on the news front, it's our top story. It's a shocking new report from the National Audit Office. I don't find it shocking at all, actually, but it says it shows that fewer than 1 in 10 asylum seekers are actually deported from the UK. I think that's quite high, actually, for...
Yeah, but that's whose claims are rejected, aren't there? There's a lot that are just still stuck in limbo.
Oh, so I mean, their claims were rejected and then they're rejected.
And then actually deported.
Anyway.
But there's a lot that aren't rejected and they're just sat in the system costing lots of money. But the report is heavily critical of Home Office monitoring as well, stating that robust data gathering is not a priority and there is a culture of tolerating and working around data that's not fit for purpose.
Well, it goes on to find that the Home Office has no idea how many asylum seekers have gone missing since arriving in the country. And those findings raise fresh questions about the effectiveness of government immigration policies on the scale of unresolved asylum cases. Joining us now is broadcaster and commentator Duncan Barks. Duncan, very good to see you here.
Morning.
I don't know whether you laugh or cry at these stories coming in. It doesn't surprise
I don't
me.
think it surprises anyone this morning. I think the Daily Mail uses the word fiasco. I think fiasco is a pretty good word to use here. And I think from what we've discovered from this National Audit Office 3-year investigation, they sampled 5,000 asylum seekers who began their claims at the beginning of 2023. I think we can conclude this morning that the Home Office is simply not fit for purpose. And this is a government department that systematically over the years has not been up to scratch. And how can it be we find ourselves this morning talking about the fact that something you would hope is quite simple, the Home Office did not know how many asylum seekers had absconded, all right? And we know about the headlines that we hear about and see about here on GB News, where we have asylum seekers who have carried out crimes, very live cases at the moment of accusations and people are being charged and investigated. How can it be that we simply do not know where people are?
I think that's the most alarming part of the report, actually. But also, again, perhaps not a surprise to people, is the Home Office isn't even aware of how much this is truly costing all of us.
So what we know so far in this particular report is cost you and I as taxpayers £4.9 billion. That's the financial year from 2024 to 2025. But it is believed to be, and just so we're clear, that figure is predominantly the migrant hotel cost, right? But it's believed to be a lot higher because what that figure doesn't include is legal aid for asylum seekers' lawyers and the cost borne by people's local councils, because once the asylum seekers are in a local hotel or whatever, that cost is then picked up by the council, not the government. So it's believed that 4.9 billion quid figure is actually a lot higher.
Yeah, and on top of that, legal aid.
Legal aid as well.
Asylum seekers' lawyers. And at the moment, you're able to appeal as many times as you like.
Yeah. So Shabana Mahmood, who is the Home Secretary, is looking at changing that system to actually reduce how many times you can appeal. But you're absolutely right. At the moment, it can just go on and on. So you end up with this cycle where you appeal, you fail, you can appeal again, and ultimately it's the British taxpayer picking up the tab.
Elsewhere, David Lammy today is in Strasbourg, isn't he, pushing for changes to the ECHR. He's hoping that it will make it easier in terms of deportations. Do you think this is possible?
I think potentially it is possible, but he's going to have quite quickly a bit of a flashpoint with his own backbenchers, or rather Keir Starmer will have a bit of a row with his backbenchers, because there are a lot of Labour MPs who are currently not in government who believe that the ECHR is sacrosanct and actually we shouldn't be doing anything regarding changing it or manipulating it in a certain way to make it easier to deport people from this country. So I think it makes a good headline for David Lammy, but I think the reality is very different.
And then on the front page of the Daily Telegraph today, I thought this was really interesting. Jordan Bardella, so he's the French presidential frontrunner by a long way, actually. But he met Nigel Farage yesterday for lunch, saying that he thinks he's going to be the next Prime Minister here in Britain. He thinks he's going to be the next French president. And together they can work to stop the boats.
Yeah, this is a really interesting story. So it's the first time that these two guys have met. And the Telegraph has got an interview with Bardella, who is believed will be the next French president in about a year and a half. That's when the French elections are. Of course, in this country, we have about 3.5 years before a general election, so a little bit longer before possibly Nigel Farage becomes the next Prime Minister. They met in Mayfair, they had a conversation, and I think in many ways it's a shared vision about cracking down on illegal migration. And the headline that's running in the Telegraph this morning is this idea that Britain will be allowed to push the small boats back into French waters, which at the moment we cannot do for all kinds of reasons. But Bardella is saying, look, if I become president, I will make it easier for Britain to be able to do that. So I think
such a lot of nonsense. You listen to all this, what we can't do all the time. What do you think we should be doing, Duncan? It's quite obvious what we should be doing on a lot of fronts. And how come there's just there's either no willpower to do it from, politicians who speak with forked tongue, or people genuinely don't know what to do?
There's no leadership. And there's no vision. If you look at Italy, Meloni, she has played an absolute blinder.
Yes,
she has a vision. She's gone round other European countries. She's spoken to the heads of states of other countries where people are coming into Italy illegally saying, I'm not putting up with this, and has managed to actually make things work. So I think if you have conviction, if you have leadership, and you have someone who's got the personality and charisma, you can actually make a difference.
Whereas Starmer's approach to things is to suck up to everybody, to hug everybody, and to be everybody's mate.
I think, he doesn't like to hug, doesn't he?
He does. He likes a hug.
Bear hugs.
Bear hugs. Shudder. What I find really interesting about what Starmer has attempted to do is everything in the last 18 months has failed. I mean, I was thinking about this when I was driving in earlier. We had this initial announcement, didn't we? Loads more funding to the French government to stop the boats coming off the beaches in France. Oh, that didn't work. Then we had an announcement about this bizarre one-in, one-out policy. That's not worked. And it goes back to the point you made, Eamonn. Some politicians in our country, including our Prime Minister, are quite happy just to talk the talk.
Yes.
It doesn't achieve anything.
But, you talk the talk. Who pays the bills?
We do.
Pay the bills all the time.
Always the taxpayer picking up the tab.
Always, always. And, when people talk about, this country has no money and we're all broke and whatever it is, put me in the Treasury. I'll sort it out in no time. You're not having that. You aren't having that. Forget that. We don't need that. Send them all home. Do this.
The thing is,
unbelievable.
We have money.
Yeah.
Right? We do have money. It's just it's spent in different places. And, I know people who've worked in the civil service for years, including people who used to work in the Home Office. They will tell you there's a massive amount of waste, as there is in every government department. There are choices that are being made where to spend the money. Again, it comes back to leadership and having a vision. And I think we're reaching quite quickly a crunch point in this country where we need a leader who is prepared to make some really, really tough choices. And this gets us into all kinds of areas that aren't necessarily vote winners. At some point, someone's going to have to make a decision about the triple lock on pensions, right? Because that is a massive bill, and there are very solid arguments on both sides of that particular issue. But it's costing us a lot of money. Can we continue with the triple lock? Some political parties will say yes. Others will say it is simply unsustainable. At some point, we need a political leader and a party who's prepared to make some really tough decisions.
OK.
No decision has been made on the IRA informer who was put in there by the Home Office in Northern Ireland, Freddie Scappacici, known as Steak Knife. The Home Office don't seem to want to name this guy and whatever. Don't know if you've been following this case. We're going to talk to Peter Blexley very shortly, former Met Police detective. But Scappacici is dead.
Yep.
right? He's dead. I don't see who it harms by name. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows he was steak knife. But the official line from the government, who would fly him on holiday, pay him huge sums of money, whatever, he apparently was responsible for the deaths of 17 people. And he's not been named.
No, it's MI5, isn't it, who are very reluctant to give too much information about this. And I think probably if we open up this can of worms, we'll start to see that decisions have been made in the past that probably will come back and haunt MI5. And it's this really complex issue about if you have someone who is undercover, for example, in a terrorist organisation, how far do you let them go in penetrating that organisation and actually carrying out some pretty horrendous crimes in the name of ultimately gathering intelligence? It'll be interesting to see how this story develops.
Yeah, it certainly will be.
Thank you very much, Duncan. Appreciate it. And we'll speak to you again after 7 o'clock. In the meantime, please do have your say on this one.
And on the new report from the National Audit Office, the Home Office has said we are already making progress with nearly 50,000 people with no right to be here removed, a 63% rise in illegal working arrests, and over 21,000 small boat crossing attempts prevented this year alone. Our reforms will restore order and control.
A new chair has finally been appointed to lead the long-delayed national inquiry into grooming or rape gangs. Former Children's Commissioner Baroness Anne Longfield says she will not shy away from difficult truths as she takes on this 3-year investigation. Her appointment comes after months of setbacks, including candidates dropping out and members of the victim liaison panel resigning. We can now speak to former Scotland Yard Detective Peter Blexley on this. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's taken them long enough to appoint someone here.
It most certainly has. And of course, GB News and Charlie Peters deserve a huge amount of credit for keeping their foot to the floor on this subject and building the pressure on this lamentable government, who were very, very slow to announce this inquiry. They dragged their heels. They didn't want it at one point. But finally, we are here. This inquiry will start next year, and it's a mixture of good news and bad news. The good news being that local inquiries that are going to happen under the umbrella of this overarching inquiry will have statutory powers. So the local inquiries can summons people, compel people to come and give evidence. That's a very good thing. One thing that is a cause of much disquiet, though, is that the inquiry is only going to date back to the year 2000. So anybody who had the huge and awful misfortune to be groomed and raped in the 90s or the 80s is simply not going to see their case covered by Baroness Longfield's inquiry.
Are you satisfied that Baroness Longfield is an appropriate chair for the National Inquiry? Already we've heard from victims and survivors who have walked away from the process, saying that the fact that she's a Labour peer currently sitting in the House of Lords does not give them confidence that this will be independent and impartial.
I think there was a very powerful case for bringing in somebody from outside of the UK to basically chair what is, of course, a national scandal of epic proportions. And there is a precedent for this. If we date back to the late 1990s, George Mitchell, who was a hugely respected senator in the United States, came over and chaired the decommissioning inquiry as part of the peace process that led to the Good Friday Agreement. So it has been done before. And I think that possibly would have been a much wiser decision to take. But unfortunately, this government chose to basically appoint one of their own because Baroness Longfield was a Labour peer. And that, of course, has raised a lot of eyebrows. And
Mitchell, very, very effective, very, very popular. And he was able to get consensus on both sides. And that's why it worked for him. I just wonder, Peter, did you see the head of the Police Service of Northern Ireland yesterday making a statement about MI5 and how Freddie Scappaticci should be named as steak knife?
Yes, I did. And I thought that Chief Constable John Boucher's performance yesterday was a very powerful and compelling appearance in front of the media, because whilst these matters that surround Steak Knife, of course, date back to the troubles of Northern Ireland, Chief Constable Boucher was saying this has a current impact on trust and confidence in policing in Northern Ireland today. And he was compelling the government to get rid of this neither confirm nor deny stance that they are adopting, and for once and for all confirm the identity of Steak Knife, which will help with legacy inquiries, will help victims who want some form of justice, and will enable contemporary policing in Northern Ireland in 2025 to move on.
I thought Boucher was very impressive, you know, as a chief constable, basically telling the government, do the right thing.
Yes, absolutely. And beside him, he had Sir Ian Livingston, who had completed the inquiry, and they've worked tirelessly and gathered compelling evidence that the security services, the army, and the RUC, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, as they were back in the day, all together basically committed some appalling acts which allowed Scappuccini or Steak Knife to go ahead to murder people, to kidnap people, all under the cover and whilst being supported and paid as an agent of the state. It is only right now, I completely agree with the hugely impressive Chief Constable John Boucher, that now is the time for the government to make an exception and put all this speculation to bed once and for all and help victims of the Troubles get some form of justice.
And Peter, just before we let you go, just wanted to ask your thoughts on this blueprint for police reform, talking about the number of police forces being cut and merged together, something like 43 police forces down to 12 mega forces. What do you think of those plans?
Yes, I think the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has actually hit on something very positive here. If we had 12 large forces rather than the 43 we've got at the moment, I think there would be a greater sharing of technology, resources, and of course there could be considerable savings made because their purchasing power would be that much bigger. So in terms of vehicles, uniforms, drones, helicopters, the list goes on, lots of savings could be made. But it's all irrelevant because British policing needs fundamentally to do one thing, and that is get back out on the streets and reclaim them and make them safer for the people of Britain.
Thank you, John. Peter, sorry, thank you. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. Peter Blexley is a former Metropolitan Police detective. The time, 21 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. We're going to draw breath now and reflect on our daily reflection.
The GB News Advent Calendar. Day 10.
Welcome to the Anglican Parish of St Andrews, Wimbledon, where I serve as vicar. Now, what's Christmas all about? Fun, food, festivity, family. It's meant to be the best of times. But how easily, for many of us, it can also feel like the worst of times. The empty seat at the table, the broken relationship, the old wound that hasn't healed. It's easy to think if Christmas is just sentimental escapism, angels, a donkey, a cute baby. But the Bible story is much more gritty and raw than that. 8 centuries before the coming of Christ, the prophet Isaiah wrote of the baby who would be born of a virgin. But what would he come to do? He will swallow up death forever. The Lord God will wipe away the tears from all faces. Christmas, according to the Bible, is not just sentimental escapism for a few days. It's actually confronting evil and darkness forever. What an amazing story. God writes himself into our human history to overcome death, to taste death for us. Christians believe at Christmas hope was born. Light triumphs over darkness, life over death. And I've often wondered, where else could we possibly hope to find such hope?
And that was day 10 of the GB News Advent Calendar. Now at 23 minutes past 6, let's get a check on the weather, shall we, with Alex Burkill.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Prince William has been at Centerpoint, the homeless charity. He's been patron there for 20 years. We're going to tell you more about that next on GB News Breakfast with Eamonn and Ellie.
I don't do miracles, but leasing options do.
Visit leasingoptions.co.uk.
That's not magic, that's leasing options.
At TBC Conversions, our wheelchair-accessible vehicles are crafted with the customer at the heart of everything we do. Our team have a passion to provide freedom and independence for clients and will guide you through the purchasing process. At TBC, innovation, quality and attention to detail are second nature. Our continuous rear door seal means our vehicles are warm and quiet. For a free, no-obligation home demonstration, contact us today at tbcconversions.com.
The bank's written to say our savings rate's gone down again.
Guess we'll just have to tighten our belts.
Or you could try moneyfactscompare.co.uk. It shows you the best savings rates available to you in minutes. It's totally independent, so you can trust what it says. With moneyfactscompare.co.uk, you could be earning hundreds more in interest every year.
The pig's talking again, dear.
Funny old thing.
Don't ignore better savings rates. Visit moneyfactscompare.co.uk today.
Custom-made signs and graphics in all shapes and sizes. Whatever you're looking for, give us a try. Backed by our price promise, we will beat any like-for-like quote. Discover more at wnlprinting.co.uk.
Right here. I love your place.
Thanks. Could you grab some carrots?
Sure. What's this?
That's for Pepper.
You keep dog food in your fridge?
It's not dog food, it's fresh pet. Real meat, real veggies.
That you feed your dog. So it's dog food.
You were so right about her.
Visit freshpet.com to find your nearest supermarket.
Imagine owning your dream holiday home, a lakeside lodge in the beautiful Shropshire countryside. A peaceful rural escape, around 2 hours or less from Manchester and Birmingham. This is the Lakes at Springlee Holiday Park. A limited collection of just 8 luxury lakeside holiday lodges for sale, right on the water near historic Shrewsbury. Book your viewing today. Because when your holiday lodge is this close, you don't just visit, you return again and again.
For some of my greyhound friends, finding the right human was easy. Ruby found hers. She loves evenings by the fire in her latest fashion. And Toby found his. Humans who share his love of tennis balls. Me, I love space. I knew from the moment I met Gracie that she was going to be my human. Thanks to Greyhound Trust, I get to spend my nights looking at the stars. I didn't just find a home, I found my best friend.
Now, the Prince of Wales could soon be taking his son, Prince George, to visit homelessness charities as part of his gradual introduction to public life.
And what a thing to introduce the young lad to, because yesterday Prince William visited Centerpoint, a favourite charity of his mother's, to celebrate 20 years as a patron, having first visited with Diana as a boy.
Well, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker was with him.
It's an amazing moment to think over 20 years how much has kind of changed and been achieved by all of you. You know, the Centerpoint family is one I'm very proud to be a part of, and I can't thank you all for all the hard work every day you all give to help other people. It's fantastic.
It's been 2 decades since Prince William embarked on one of his first royal patronages, Centerpoint, fighting to end youth homelessness. It's a charity Diana, Princess of Wales, once supported and took her son to in 1996. Now a father himself, it's understood William plans to bring his son, George, to meet young people at risk of homelessness, but only when he's ready. Chief Executive of Centerpoint, Shay Obakin, explains.
The time will come when Prince George will visit Centerpoint, but not just Centerpoint, another homelessness organisations. The time will come, and I suspect it's not very far away. But we have to let Prince George be a child. His parents will know when it's the right time.
Nice to see you. Yeah, there was a smile. I know it was a smile.
At Centerpoint's new London headquarters, William met the charity's long-serving staff and young people it supports. It's focused on prevention and recently called out a trap where young people were better off on benefits than working. If they earned too much money, their housing support was reduced sharply. Here's 23-year-old Ellie.
My rent was higher than my income. There was no way I could possibly afford it, and I was actually going into debt every single month, getting deeper and deeper into debt.
The quirk left Ellie and others at risk of homelessness, and Centerpoint put pressure on Rachel Reeves, and it appeared to work.
The change in the budget is basically a reflection of loads of young people who have had to go through that issue. It will take a couple of years for us to fully kind of see the effects trickling down, but the idea is in a few years, a young person in supported housing will work full time and they will not be in debt.
I've ever painted before. I have painted, and you don't want to see what it looks like. It's not a good outcome.
The final touches to a new Wall of Hope mural, at a time where there's been a 10% rise in 16 to 24-year-olds presenting as homeless or at risk in just a year. William's halfway through his 5-year programme to demonstrate homelessness can be ended, aiming to make it rare, brief and unrepeated. It's called Homewards, and Centerpoint is a key advisor on how to provide housing for young Brits. As future king, it's understood William's keeping a close eye on its progress. Cameron Walker, GB News in London.
Feels so strongly about homelessness, and he thinks we can,
eradicate it, doesn't he?
In 10 years or something, which is no chance, absolutely no chance. I wish him all the very, very best on that, and it's great to have him as a figurehead. But the homeless situation is again something that we should be attending to, seeing to in this country, instead of some of the things that we do spend our money and resources on.
Yeah.
But it should be absolutely a priority. It's a disgrace, the amount of people who are sleeping on the streets.
No, it is, absolutely. And it's something we all see, don't we, in our daily lives, around the station or on our high streets. So good on him for raising awareness and all the work that he does for Centerpoint. Yeah. His mum would be very proud.
She would be very proud. It's become the norm in America. You just look and it's
homelessness.
Homelessness, absolutely.
It is very bad, actually.
As if no one cares in America. Later on this morning, we'll be debating if sick people should wear face masks. So Ellie and I were talking about this, and my view is what's the problem?
My view is if you're sick, stay at home. What is wrong with people? If you're unwell, just take a day and stay at home.
Well,
you don't need to be on public transport. You don't need to be in the office.
But if you are out and about, do you run the risk of being infected by someone? Or, you know, would you be embarrassed at wearing a mask? Or politicians, none of them want any reminders of COVID. So, but even though everybody's saying there is going to be another big COVID epidemic, it's on its way.
Oh, I hope not. Not anytime soon.
Oh, yeah, no, apparently it is sometime soon. Yeah.
Well, this all comes because an NHS leader is urging people to be cautious with this new so-called tidal wave of illness, a really bad flu season that is currently gripping the UK. Kemi Badenoch saying this shouldn't be mandated, that she's really concerned about calls for people to wear face masks in public. Well, this all
But if
leads...
everywhere's so sick, I mean, for instance, you know, hospitals in Birmingham and here in the south of England or whatever are all overflowing. People in A&E and whatever, and they've got flu. Now, whether that's an exaggeration that, you know, they shouldn't be in hospital if they've got flu, or if they are very old and vulnerable and they should be in hospital, should we not just wear a mask and help reduce those numbers?
Well, it leads to our poll today, doesn't it? You decide poll, should sick people wear face masks at work? You can do this if you're a friend of GB News. You can vote by scanning the QR code on your screens now or head to gbnews.com. And a reminder that it is free. Here's how you can become our friend.
So, wear a mask.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on your say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Thank you, Michelle. Traffic news, here it is.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Exercise caution on the M90 Friarton Bridge due to high winds. The A4042 between Little Mill and Abergavenny Hardwick roundabout is closed. One lane of the A38 southbound in Derbyshire is closed between the A61 Alfreton and A610 due to a collision. In Staffordshire, 2 lanes are closed on the M6 southbound at junction 12. The M25 anti-clockwise exit slip at junction 25 in Greater London is affected by a broken down vehicle. And on the trains, the Elizabeth line has no trains between London Paddington and Abbey Wood, and Storm Bram may impact Great Western Railway services today. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Over 12,000 families will have an empty chair at the table this Christmas. Prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in men in the UK, and most people won't have any symptoms. But it doesn't have to be this way. Just a simple PSA blood test can check the prostate health and can catch the early signs of prostate cancer. Help save a dad this Christmas. Visit the website on screen to learn more about the risk and where to get tested.
At Holton Stairlifts, we specialise in stocking and fitting stairlifts. With free home surveys, you're in safe hands with our team of experts. With a wide range of new, reconditioned and rentals available, we can provide a solution that fits the majority of UK homes.
I'm so pleased with my stairlift. It's just helped me so much.
With low monthly finance available on a range of products, get in touch today at holtonstairlifts.co.uk to find out more.
Action.
Now, you've probably seen some of our ads on this channel already.
So we thought it's time for you to meet the team behind them.
We're Copper House Films. We create affordable professional TV ads for all businesses.
So if you're watching this right now, chances are you own your own business.
And just as this ad has found you, we can create you an ad that directly targets your customers.
So get in touch with us today and let us make your next ad.
It's time to show the world your business.
Welcome to Reclaim Nation, where sustainability meets timeless elegance.
Choose from on-trend designs while staying mindful of your carbon footprint, crafted from reclaimed wood with a story. Every piece adds character, every detail adds warmth, bringing life and style to your home. Visit reclaimnation.co.uk. Designer furniture that won't cost you the earth.
Are you a homeowner struggling with debt, at risk of losing your home? The Faster Property Solutions team have 20 years of expertise in helping homeowners to solve financial problems and become debt-free by stopping repossession, providing cash advances, paying off mortgages, clearing arrears, and much more. Don't be forced to sell your home quickly or accept less than it's worth. Speak to our expert team to find the perfect solution for you. Call or visit fasterpropertysolutions.co.uk.
John Finch Computers, John speaking. Tech support. Copy, John?
Thanks, John.
How's the Starlink looking, John? Yeah? All good, John? Nice work, John. Secure, John? John.
Are you all right, John?
John Finch Computers. It's not just John.
Champions League action, that's what's dominated Paul's bulletin today. Good morning, good to see you.
Good to see you. Inter Milan 0, Liverpool 1. I tell you what, it's more than just a good win. It's so important for the manager, Arne Slot.
Yeah.
Because we've got this tug of love, this power struggle, haven't we, between Mo Salah and Arne Slot. So you're thinking, where's everybody going? I know you were a little bit more towards Salah, weren't you? I think most of us.
Every time.
There's not many of you that are on the Salah side, I've got to say. Ellie, are you a Salah side or are you a Slot side? You're a Slot side. I know you were.
I did see Mo Salah and he was posting in the gym.
Pardon?
He was posting in the gym. He did a post yesterday.
That's right.
And that was winding up a lot of people.
That's right. Mo Salah in there, like, I'm in the gym on my own.
And it was the Liverpool gym, yeah.
What am I to do?
Yeah.
Inter haven't lost at the San Siro in the Champions League for 18 games, so it's a great result for Liverpool. So there was a debatable penalty, but you know what? The fans in the San Siro, the Liverpool fans, were actually singing Arne Slot's name, not Mo Salah's name. So Arne Slot was asked about the situation. How is he going to react? What's he going to talk his way around it? This is what he had to say.
My stand is that tonight it should be all about the players that are here. In the rich history Liverpool has, they've had many of these evenings, but after in the season we are in, I think if you have an away win in this stadium against such a strong team, then it should be about the midfield or about Ibu or about the ones that are here. They deserve all the credits. And I can fully understand on Friday that I get a lot of questions from Vinny again about other things, but tonight it should be about the ones that are here.
See, that's the way to do it. You just go, well, it should be about the players on the pitch at the moment, but I don't think he's going to play against Brighton at the weekend, and then it's the African Cup of Nations. Is he going to play for Liverpool again? I would be surprised.
They're deliberately forcing him out, aren't they?
I don't think they are. I honestly don't. I think we disagree on that one.
Gone before Salah. That's the thing. Yeah. Right, Spurs. You guys, you played last night.
3-0.
Very good.
Very good. 3-0 against Slavia Prague. 2 penalties and an own goal. Doesn't matter how they go in, as long as they go in.
A win's a win.
Win's a win. Return of Heung-min Son. It was all very emotional. I'll tell you about that a bit later. Atalanta beat Chelsea 2-1, and Chelsea needed to win that to stay in the top 8 for the Champions League. Expected to win. Too many changes, and they end up losing the game. So Liverpool are 8th, Spurs are 9th, Chelsea 11th, Man City away at Real Madrid tonight, Arsenal away at Club Brugge.
You lost me telling me Chelsea have to stay in the top 8, the Champions League.
OK, well, we got it.
Why can't it just be the way it used to be? Anyway,
Paul
will be back
in
at 7:20 for the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
The Great British Giveaway, here it is. Have a go.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money, and it could be yours. Christmas. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Newspaper Talk with Charlotte Griffiths and Liz Oakley. Next.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Heavy thundery downpours will continue to affect Cyprus as we go through tomorrow and into Friday, but this unsettled weather, it is going to ease as we head into the weekend. And actually, across many other parts around the Mediterranean, it's looking largely fine. Some decent sunshine to be had as well. Slightly different story, though, across much of Spain. A few outbreaks of rain around, and there is a band of rain sweeping in from the west, so that's going to turn things a bit wetter across Portugal and western Spain as we head towards the end of the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Discover our new seasonal ranges at madisonandmayfair.com. We've got thousands of luxury products for your home. From decor and furnishings to scents and fragrances, kitchenware to furniture, shop now and discover beautiful items to brighten your living space, business or home office. Whether you're shopping for yourself or looking for the perfect gift, we've got style for every room. Visit madisonandmayfair.com today and discover the home of interior excellence.
We've got a special gift for you.
Oh, what's this? Oh,
Mum, you're going to be a nan. This Christmas, give the gift of a lifetime. Visit imaginator.co.uk to book your scan today.
Homewood Grove is a brand new lifestyle community exclusively for the over 60s, where you can enjoy a spacious new home set among landscape gardens on the outskirts of Chertsey in Surrey. A beautifully designed contemporary village intended with your enjoyment and well-being in mind, with a host of amenities and a range of activities to enjoy. Reserve your new home today.
Been to Poland? You'd love it. There's Warsaw, really picturesque. Don't forget to look up. Journey north to the famous port of Gdańsk. And when you've done that, you can go to Hell Beach, that is. Go south to gorgeous Krakow. There's great bars and restaurants in its charming square. Or Wrocław, the Venice of Poland, with over 100 bridges. Or trek in the stunning mountain ranges. Not forgetting the traditional Christmas markets. Poland, more than just a destination.
Red Wings have given them a home. Now all they want is a family. Red Wings is one of the largest horse welfare charities in the UK, responsible for 2,000 rescued horses and donkeys. From as little as £2 a month, you can adopt your own horse or donkey. You'll receive a wonderful adoption pack, regular updates on their progress, and as our centres are free to visit, you're always welcome to come and spend time with your new friend. Adopt today at redwings.org.uk.
Looking for new tools? Well, look no further than ITS. We are the home of power tools, hand tools, workwear and all the tools you need, boasting some of the biggest ranges of DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee and all the big brands anywhere in the UK. And our customers love us. We've got over 45,000 5-star reviews with next day delivery available 7 days a week. The next time you need tools, make sure you look at ITS.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of Editor-at-Large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, and the podcast host, Lewis Oakley. Morning, you two.
Morning. Lewis, can we start with this unnamed Briton who's died? His family have been informed, but a member of British Armed Forces, probably Special Forces, having been killed in a trial that went wrong in Ukraine. Now, again, it doesn't surprise me here, but everybody's wet in their pants that the Russians will realise we've got people there. Well, we know we've got people there. They're training the Ukrainians. What have we got to worry about with this?
I think first off, it's the first Briton that's died in this conflict, and it is a bit of a sobering shift because we know there's a war going on, and we're saying, well, we're not really involved in it, even though we are involved in it. I think it's a realisation that even if you're in a non-combat role, like war carries risk, even if you're there to observe, this is a dangerous situation. I think it's interesting how much limited information we've got. We haven't got a name yet. We haven't got any idea around what he was...
I'm not sure you have the truth. That's my point.
Well, exactly, but will this be a push now? We need more transparency. What exactly is going on there? Because I think the worry is, how does Russia interpret this? Does Russia say, well, they could either use it as propaganda, or they could say, look, they are involved. Look, how can you say if they've got men dying on the field, they are involved in this?
Well, they will be using it in propaganda.
So you've got to think about how it goes, and then does that call for a more push for transparency? What exactly are we doing over there? What exactly are we testing? How exactly did this happen? And how much can they really tell us?
I mean, all we've been told so far, and they've previously acknowledged that there's a small number of British personnel in the country to support Ukraine's armed forces, but they're not going to comment any further in this instance about who this individual was or what they were doing there.
No, I mean, the one bit of information they did give us, they said he was away from the front lines and observing only. I mean, to my mind, that means he was definitely on the front line and was very much taking part. I just think that they're so pointed to give that one piece of information. And this whole thing about he was just observing. Why do we have men there just observing?
Well,
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist,
but... In Northern Ireland, Freddie Scappaticci, known as Steak Knife, is now dead, and MI5 is still denying that he was a paid informer for MI5 during the Northern Ireland, responsible for 17 deaths. Charlotte, Donald Trump has lambasted European leaders this week. He's called them weak.
Yeah, and he's really pinned the blame on the weakness of Europe, on political correctness. He said the reason we're so weak is because of political correctness. It's allowed immigration to get out of control. And he's also gone to town on Sadiq Khan and said, he's an absolute...
He's not a fan, is he?
He said he was a horrible person. The only reason he gets elected is because he's let so many people in and then they vote for him. Although there hasn't been an election for quite a long time on the mayoral front, and there isn't going to be. It's kind of on brand for Donald Trump, but it's incredibly unhelpful.
Concerned about Sadiq Khan?
I think he's obsessed with the immigration thing, isn't he? And he's just decided to make Sadiq Khan his kind of figurehead for all that. And he can't really lambast Starmer, can he? Because he's supposed to be pals with Starmer. So instead he goes for Sadiq Khan. That's my theory on it, anyway.
Yeah. What do you think? Has he got a point?
Well, he probably does. I mean, look, I'm sure this is all the art of the deal. He's leaning on the European leaders because they're unsure about his plans for Ukraine. So he's like, right, I'll take wider shots. I'll talk about pulling out the American support so that they know the stakes are high. It's all kind of, give people a little shove. Realistically, I mean, this is all... he's got this America First policy, but the Americans have always been a little bit like, well, how much does what happened in Europe really affect us? Famously late to the Second World War. But I think that ultimately they always reach a point of, the world's far better with the Europeans in it, and it's better allies. So he will, he's not going to do anything too rash. I think, though, that he'd probably, I'm hearing a lot about he does have a point. He famously in his first term was there telling the Germans, stop relying on the Russian gas. What are you doing? What do you do with your borders? And I think that they're probably... I'm seeing a lot of sympathy for his kind of position of, well, you're not helping yourselves. Why should we do it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Lewis, let's stay with you, shall we? And how much is chocolate going to cost us this Christmas?
Oh, yeah, so chocolate prices have jumped almost a fifth in the run-up to Christmas. Now, there has been a boom in cocoa supplies, basically, but it hasn't driven down the cost, interestingly. And so we'll basically be paying more for treats and chocolate as it comes up to Christmas. The problem is this is a shrinkflation thing as well. So the costs keep getting higher, the chocolate keeps getting smaller, and you're hearing more and more now, they're putting in less actual cocoa cocoa. So they're putting in more things that taste like chocolate. So it doesn't taste like chocolate. It's smaller than it used to be, and you pay more for it.
This on the Americans as well, because they buy it. Well, it's true. They do not have the same taste for chocolate we do.
Oh, it's horrible.
They've bought over our companies as well, and now we're getting more of their muck.
Yeah. They're horrible Nestle.
Yeah,
is it Nestle chocolate? Hershey's. It tastes like soap, doesn't it? It's got hardly any cocoa in. I suppose they put washing up liquid in instead of cocoa. It does taste like chemicals, doesn't it? Yeah, it's very odd. Of, I probably can't say the name, but let's just say a tub of a well-known brand in the newsroom, and I've just had a look at it now. So much smaller than it has been before. Take the lid off, and it's just the bottom.
I think it's just there's nothing sacred anymore. You know, we're being taxed to God knows where, that all the bills are going up. It's just like, it's Christmas. You just want to have some chocolate. It's like, oh, even that.
Charlotte, let's finish with talking about...
the Downing Street.
Yeah. The cat. Sorry, the cat.
The cat, yeah, the Downing Street cat.
Larry the cat.
I love writing stories about Larry the cat. I've been writing about Larry the cat for years, and it always cheers me up because Larry the cat has got so much attitude. If only he was running Europe, then Trump wouldn't be calling us weak, because he's a tough cookie. And he refused to go in to number 10 Downing Street when Zelensky came to visit the other day. And pro-Kremlin kind of propaganda is saying, well, this is a sign that, you know, Zelensky's a bad guy, because Larry the cat didn't follow him in. So he's actually being used for pro-Kremlin propaganda, which I find hilarious.
Larry the cat is not fussed by anyone.
Yeah.
Guys, appreciate it. Got to leave it there. Charlotte and Lewis will be back in about 45 minutes' time.
Now, let's get a check on the weather with Alex Burkle.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
From big events to intimate dining, choose the award-winning boutique hotel and events venue, the Thomas Paine Hotel. Enjoy delicious food, including dishes using local produce from local farmers. Join us for a premium champagne or cocktail, or a sweet afternoon treat. Whatever you're celebrating, celebrate with us. For your next event, contact the Thomas Paine Hotel, Thetford.
Right, Nan. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, lovely.
Hope you like it.
Where did you get this filth from?
I got it online at www. I told you our products are too twisted to be on TV. You stop filming. You get rid of that card.
Mum, you should know better.
Sorry, lovely.
Do you want to see what all the fuss is about? Well, visit twisted.kids online.
With a whopping 1-year warranty, I feel like part of the family.
With over 300 cars in stock, finding a reliable motor for me and Bruce was easy.
All brands, all styles, smart for choice.
1 year of roadside assistance, great for an adventurer like me.
Reserve online and it's delivered to your doorstep. It's the future.
For the young at heart, all this and a 116-point check on all cars.
The Car Warehouse, Bridgend and Swansea. Buy with confidence.
Bruce!
You know, the Muscat story, our story, is really a classic immigrant story.
My great-great-grandfather emigrated from Eastern Europe and entered into the Lower East Side of Manhattan, where he did only what he knew, selling eyeglasses off of a pushcart.
Eventually, he opened a real shop where we stayed in the neighborhood for 110 years.
And 5 generations later, we've moved a couple of times.
But we're never leaving the Lower East Side.
And there's nothing more New York than that.
Hi! I had weight loss surgery to enjoy more time with my children.
I did it to help improve my type 2 diabetes.
I did it to enjoy long walks and to feel more healthy.
I did it to finally enjoy holidays.
I did it to be healthy for my family.
Tonic weight loss surgery are helping thousands of people nationwide get their lives back. Inquire today for a free consultation.
Good morning. Fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from Britain.
Very good morning to you. This is about the National Audit Office's 3-year investigation, and it has found Labour's approach to migration is unrealistic and accommodation is causing significant costs.
Well, the report was heavily critical of the Home Office, stating that robust data gathering was not a priority and there was a culture of tolerating and working around data that is not fit for purpose.
Well, the findings raise fresh questions about the effectiveness of the government's immigration policies and any hope of fixing the mounting crisis.
An alliance to finally stop the small boats crisis. Well, Nigel Farage could potentially team up with the French presidential frontrunner as they plot a plan to stop the Channel crossings.
The first serving member of British Armed Forces has been killed in Ukraine, and the Ministry of Defence has confirmed this. He died in what's been described by them as a tragic accident.
Well, it comes as Ukraine is preparing to present a revised peace plan to the White House as it seeks to avoid making territorial concessions to Russia.
Things are happening to Europe, you know that their immigration policies are so bad. They're so bad. They're destroying our beautiful Europe. I love Europe. They're destroying Europe, and they better do something.
President Trump doing something there, criticising European leaders, describing them as weak, and he says their countries are decaying.
The Home Secretary has appointed Baroness Longfield to lead the national inquiry into grooming gangs.
A danger to life weather warning in place as Storm Bram batters Britain with a month's worth of rain and winds of up to 90 miles an hour.
Moment to think over 20 years how much has kind of changed and been achieved by all of you. You know, the Centerpoint family is one I'm very proud to be a part of.
Prince William marks 20 years as patron of the youth homeless charity Centerpoint.
Just 15 days until Christmas. And we've got a very special guest in the studio this morning. We'll be joined by the man who makes the day special for everyone, Father Christmas.
Follow that. In sport this morning, Liverpool fans show whose side they're on between Mo Salah and manager Arne Slot as they beat Inter in Milan. Spurs beat Slavia Prague 3-0. Not so good for Chelsea as they lose to Atalanta. And with the third Ashes test just a few days away, we're going to head to Australia to see how much the Aussies are loving thrashing us Poms.
The strongest winds and the heaviest rain from Storm Bram has now started to clear, but it is still going to be potentially stormy across some parts of Scotland today. I'll have more details coming up.
A very good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. Thank you for your company. We're with you until 9:30. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, leading the news this hour, France's presidential frontrunner Jordan Bardella is moving to forge an alliance with Nigel Farage to restore Europe's borders after the pair held talks in London yesterday.
Yes, Mr Bardella is the leader of the National Rally Party, pledged to changes France's border policy to support Britain in tackling the Channel's small boats crisis, should he secure victory in next year's election.
Well, could this alliance be the solution to put an end to the chaos in the Channel? Let's get the views now of political commentator Duncan Barks with this one. What do you make of it, Duncan?
I think it's really, really interesting. There's a caveat to this, though, and we ought to make this point. So we have this chap, Jordan Bardella, who, as we rightly say, is leading the polls at the moment to become the next president. However, the caveat is this. He will only run for president if his mentor, Marine Le Pen, who was leader of this party until 2022, cannot stand, because currently she faces a 5-year electoral ban over EU funding. Now, some commentators in France are saying this is a political hit job, right, in order to try and stem the success of her political party. But put that caveat to one side. It's a really interesting story. In the Telegraph today, I've got a big interview with Jordan Bardella. He's 30 years old. Potentially, he could be the next president of France. He's met Nigel Farage. They met and had wine in Mayfair and had a bit of a chinwag. And it's a bit of a shared vision, really. We know right across Europe, illegal migration is an issue. And Jordan is very much of the view that if he was to become president, he would work with Nigel Farage, currently leading the polls and at the moment predicted to be our next prime minister, in cracking down on the small boats. And
one of the most interesting things that he said is he would allow Britain to push back the boats in the Channel.
Exactly that, which has not been able to, there's not been the political will to do that, I think it's fair to say, up until now. There's some questions over maritime law as to whether or not that would allow it. But essentially, if you have the new French president saying, well, I don't have a problem with this, and you have a British Prime Minister going, that's what we're going to do, it kind of works, doesn't it? And I think if we were to see that happen, immediately you would see those small boat crossings reduced dramatically, because it's very serious action compared to what we've seen over the last year and a half, which has been like this one-in, one-out policy, or if you come to this country, we'll question whether or not you're a genuine asylum seeker. I think we can see what's happening at the moment is not working. So at some point, you do need some political will, some political spine to go, you come over, the boats are going to drag you back.
Well, they certainly seem to have a shared vision, so watch this space. Elsewhere, can we look at the National Audit Office report that's come out, an investigation over the last 3 years? Fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from the UK.
I know, it's staggering. And there's other statistics in here as well. 41% had their claim refused and had yet to be deported, so you feed that into it. You've got a Home Office here. I think it's a dereliction of duty in many ways, and I think taxpayers watching and listening to GB News this morning will be going, hang on a second, we pay a vast amount of tax. One of the government departments is the Home Office. You kind of expect them to know who's in this country and who's not in this country. And also, if you're going to say your asylum claim has failed, then to deport those people. And it's very clear from this research from the National Audit Office, it is simply not happening. Just some background to this. They sampled 5,000 asylum seekers who began their claims in January 2023. It's pretty much a 3-year investigation, and the outcome is staggering. Fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported.
It is staggering.
Well, you wouldn't want to be in that boat or in the Channel with the weather like we're having today. Duncan, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
we're going off to talk about that. Thanks for everything you've had to say. Have your say with what you've heard from Duncan today. Please do get in touch, and we will reflect that in the programme. So this storm that we're experiencing at the moment, still hammering the whole country. Danger of life winds of up to 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, this is Storm Bram. Flights and trains have been cancelled. Hundreds of homes are still without power and major roads and bridges have been forced to close.
OK, amber warnings in the northwest of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland. The Met Office urges people to stay away from coastal areas as large waves continue. We're joined now by meteorologist John Hammond with this one. John, good morning to you. Here we are, another day of this storm. Is it petering out or is it building up?
Yeah, it's a slowly getting better story, actually, Eamonn, today. Those amber warnings that you mentioned, they've now been degraded to yellow, and it's Scotland which are affected by those warnings, and it's Scotland which will get battered through the rest of today. Still very windy. So although the peak of the winds are beginning to subside, those 80, 90 mile an hour gusts becoming less likely, we're still talking about gusts, Eamonn, of 50, 60, 70 miles an hour quite widely across Scotland. Not just around coastal areas and up on top of a mountain, in places where people live. So there will be disruption across, populated parts of Scotland in particular today, very blowy elsewhere. But for Scotland, the likes of ScotRail and CalMac still having disruption to their services. So check with the operators before you set out. And the bridges will be closed as well in some parts of Western Scotland in particular. In terms of rainfall, the worst is over as well. There will be some rain across the west of Scotland, but nothing you can't cope with. For the rest of us, as I say, a blowy day, but a clearing up sort of day. I mean, it was an absolute deluge yesterday across parts of Wales and the West Country. There are scores of flood warnings in operation, Eamonn. And actually, it's a situation where it rains torrentially in one place on top of the hills, but actually the impacts from flooding are way downstream. And that's what we're seeing at the moment for the likes of York, which has seen some flooding over the last 24 hours. There wasn't that much rain in York. It rained up on top of the Pennines. And as we all know, that takes a period of time for that bulge of floodwater to make its way downstream. So over the next few days, I'm expecting further impacts from flooding for sort of rivers downstream of the Pennines, rivers downstream of the Welsh Mountains, through the Severn Valley, for example. These are areas which could well see flooding for several days to come because we've had so much rain over the last several weeks. The ground is just so saturated.
So sad. I hope you're not affected by it, anybody watching or listening. John, appreciate the update. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Now let's have a look at the weather picture across the country with Alex Burkle.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day. So much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day. And temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, thank you very much indeed for getting in touch. We'd like to reflect on what you have to say with your say, and what are folks saying, Ellie?
Well, lots of you reacting to the National Audit Office investigation into the Home Office. Oops says, how difficult should it be to register all asylum seekers who enter this country and then monitor where they go?
Well, I would say that we just haven't got enough people working in the civil service for that particular department.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so many civil servants.
Yeah, but
it's
obviously
bloated,
not
if
in that
anything.
department, there's not.
Or maybe it's not very efficient. Oops says, on arrival, we need to put them in secured camps and then we need to just get on with processing them. We have a government that cannot even run a bath properly.
So basically, you can illegally come into the country. Someone says, right, what are you doing here? They say, what's your name? Right, fine. And then they're allowed to do whatever they want.
And they just sit
They can
in
go
a
and work for Deliveroo
hotel.
or...
Well, they're not meant to work, are they? But yes, they are working. Some of them in the black market or for delivery services. Another one of you says all illegal immigrants should be wearing electronic tags. You should only be allowed 2 miles away from where you're staying. And Hatter says the Tories had ample time to sort out illegal immigration. We were told time and time again not to leave the ECHR, and now they're talking about leaving the ECHR.
Well, no one's doing anything right, it appears. 13 minutes past 7 o'clock, still to come. This is an interesting one. If you're sick, if you've got flu, if you've got COVID, whatever you've got, should you wear a face mask? Does it send out the wrong message? Does it do the right thing health-wise? What do you think?
Does it remind you of the pandemic?
Yeah, so what if it does? And we're back debating that next.
Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other, where you'll find elegant design for every room in your home. Housing Units, where fresh ideas and inspiration are part of the experience. From our home to yours, explore new styles and offers in store and online. Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other. Sale is now on.
There's nothing like a cozy breakfast in familiar surroundings. Always feel at home with Belgica furniture. Sumptuous, stylish, and sophisticated. Belgica. Furniture with passion.
John Finch Computers, John speaking. Tech support. Coffee, John? Thanks, John. How's the Starlink looking, John? Yeah, all good, John. Nice work, John. Secure, John? John.
Are you all right, John?
John Finch Computers. It's not just John.
I love your place.
Thanks. Could you grab some carrots?
Sure. What's this?
That's for Pepper.
You keep dog food in your fridge?
It's not dog food, it's fresh pet. Real meat, real veggies.
That you feed your dog. So it's dog food.
You were so right about her.
Visit freshpet.com to find your nearest supermarket.
Introducing Leedons, our beautiful residential park nestled in the heart of the Cotswolds. Close to the picturesque village of Broadway, Leedons offers luxurious park homes for the over 50s. Whether contemporary or traditional, our bespoke and ready-made homes have a range of landscaping options. And our clubhouse offers numerous facilities, including a large indoor pool and bowling green. Call now or pop along to see a selection of homes for yourself.
New driver, George. How on earth did you afford that?
I got cash in my old gold and jewellery from Great British Gold.
Great British Gold? How does that work?
Oh, it's easy. You send them all your old gold and jewellery in a free envelope and they'll send the money right to you.
Sounds good.
It is. They value each piece, and if it's worth more than its weight in gold, they'll pay you a fair price.
Great shot!
Order your free envelope today by visiting greatbritishgold.co.uk.
How are you doing for Christmas? How are you coping? Have you got everything together? Can you afford it? I mean, I think it's very, very depressing for a lot of people, and we should prioritise who to look after, who to go and see, and who to make a big deal of Christmas. I think children have got to be top of the list.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Old people, people on their own loneliness at Christmas is a really bad thing as well. So if you can do that, just want to know how you're getting on. Are you enjoying spending? Are you cutting back your spending compared to previous years? I miss not having young children anymore, whereby
it's the magic, isn't it?
You were able to tell Santa, write a note to Santa as to what to get them, what to bring, and the magic of seeing children get the thing that they wanted for Christmas is hard to beat.
I think a lot of people are cutting back this Christmas. I think that's the view that we're getting from a lot of people watching and listening to GB News. They're having a very different Christmas dinner because food's got so expensive. Perhaps not having turkey, perhaps having chicken instead, or adults in the family saying we're not going to do presents for each other. Just stick to the children. So I think a lot of people are making changes, cutting back. But we might be able to help if you are struggling this Christmas. £85,000 is up for grabs.
That's a good help.
It's a good one, isn't it? Tax-free as well. Great British giveaway. Have a go.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money and it could be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, people with flu or cold-like symptoms should be wearing masks in public. That's according to an NHS leader who's warning of a tidal wave of illness and flu hitting the UK.
So what's the problem?
Of a nasty strain of flu?
No, what's the problem with wearing a mask? That's the thing.
Right.
So the NHS has a very nasty strain of flu, and we know that hospitals are already, overstretched and overstrained with all of this. But this particular strain has arrived earlier than usual, while Downing Street says mask wearing is something people can consider. That's so pathetic. Well, we're not going to say do it, but in case we're accused of closing down the country or whatever, do we need to do it or do we not need to do it?
Yeah, or people could just stay at home if they're not very well. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's what used to happen. This morning, we're asking, should sick people at work wear face masks to protect their co-workers?
Well, joining us now, pharmacist Torrin Govend and co-founder of the Together Foundation, Alan Miller. Alan, would you wear a mask?
I think we have to look at this. It's the same thing all over again as COVID. The first thing we have to look at is every year we're now told for the last 15 years, it's a tidal wave. It's a big panic about flu. We've seen the situation that masks, they do not prevent the particles from actually going through them. They're about 100 times bigger than the actual particles. And actually, the big question is here, why are we being told that we have to do something to protect the NHS that now has 7.8 million people waiting, largely because of the measures that were imposed during lockdowns and the COVID-only NHS service? We know that if you're really, really sick, you shouldn't go to work. But the idea that everybody has to now wear a mask that just becomes normalised as some kind of pantomime to pretend that this prevents us from getting the flu, when what we should be looking at is why is the NHS that's presented as a deity not able to protect us, and we're being told we need to protect the NHS? It's not acceptable.
OK, what would be acceptable to you, Torrin?
Well, look, NHS resources there's not a huge amount of them. We have to think about that. Then we have to do our best as an individual in our society. And it's not just about the NHS. It's actually just basic common courtesy for the people that we work with. So yes, if we're totally unwell, we should not be going into that work environment. But we might have a cold or we might have a sniffle. And just like we would catch it, bin it, kill it if we were sneezing and putting that tissue in the bin and washing our hands. This is just another armour for us. People may also be vulnerable and we don't know about it, people who we work with, and more at risk of illness. So it's really about common courtesy, and modern offices are not great when it comes to spreading germs. You know, they're not the most aired environment. They're not well ventilated. Some of them you can't even open a window. So this is just another basic common courtesy. And if people may also be thinking about having their flu jab as well, which is another way of defending ourselves this winter.
But, Torrin, would you be concerned about a mask mandate? I mean, it's one thing for the NHS to advise that perhaps if you are ill, you're going into work, pop one on. But would you want to see it rolled out across the board? I mean, there's talk of schools asking pupils to put masks on and even telling them not to sing in assemblies because they're worried about this outbreak of flu.
So we know that masks can reduce the viral load that is then goes out and is, you know, people and reduce the risk to other people. I think, again, it's about common courtesy. I don't think in this day and age anything can really be mandated, but it is about saying, yes, this could be a positive thing to help people stay well and to make sure that we are doing the best for our NHS, who over winter, and I'm going to remind everyone now to reorder their prescriptions because people will be running into healthcare services on Christmas Day because they've forgotten to order their prescription. So it's all about planning in advance. And I mean, do you want to spend your time ill over the Christmas and New Year break, or do you want to spend time with the family?
I hear what you're saying, Torrin, but Alan, would you be mandated into having a flu jab?
Absolutely would not be mandated into having anything. Informed consent is a massive priority that we absolutely upended in unprecedented and unacceptable and unscientific manner, which lots of people championed. Let me just say, when people talk about vulnerable people, we know that children's development, we know that people that are deaf, we know that people that need to be able to see facial expressions, we know that people who've got skin conditions, that people who've got glasses, a whole range of people, it actually impacts them detrimentally. And these knee-jerk reactions where we start saying we're going to shut schools down and we're going to impose masks, by the way, we're going to jettison juries. A whole range of these things that have come in the last few years are utterly new. They're utterly unprecedented. They're not at all scientifically established. There's something that's being talked about, well, if you've got sniffles, it's ironic, isn't it, when we've got 5 million people who are not working and are on sick benefits, and we've got an NHS that is not able to deal adequately. Every year we have this same argument, and instead it's being put onto us like other measures have been done before. We've got a COVID inquiry that's not fit for purpose, that has not assessed and evaluated things properly, not even looked at lockdowns and the harmful impacts they've had, one of which is the impact on the NHS. And now we've got this pantomime charade where people are saying, oh, it's just to do it if you're being considerate, as though the simple idea, as though this is the thing that's going to sort it out. We have colds and flus every winter. We're always told it's a tidal wave. It's time to stop fear and panic porn and safetyism and deal with the actual issue at source, which is why the NHS is not able to deal with what we require it to. Look at Europe. They have a mixture of different ways of dealing with it, far better service in Germany and elsewhere. We need to get to grips with that and the sclerotic bureaucracy, not telling everyone they've got to mask up now.
But Alan, you say that, but in London here, you go out and about and tourists in particular wear face masks.
Indeed, if people make a decision to have Mohicans or put masks on or wear mini skirts or cover themselves completely up, that's of their own discretion. But there is a reason why some people make those decisions. And that's because some practitioners and some people who run the NHS and some people in the media have been championing those things for quite some time and not being entirely honest about what we know and don't know about the size of the holes in the masks, about how particles are spread, about why surgeons wear them to protect open wounds, not about these particle spreads and viral loads. So That's one of the reasons people do things, because we've been told this is a thing that can be effective. And that's not conclusive at all.
OK, Torrin and Alan, good to see you both this morning. Thank you very much for
Thanks
sharing
for your
views.
contributions. Yeah, appreciate that. And we'll now pass it over to friends of GB News, because if you are one of those, you can vote in today's You Decide poll for free. You scan the QR code on your screen now, and the question is:
should sick people wear face masks at work? The results are in so far. 37% of you say yes, they should. 63% of you say no, they shouldn't. Lots of you getting in touch on the views as well. Joe says it's just about the state controlling every part of our lives. Christine says if you really have the flu, you can't get out of bed, never mind go to work. Nick says if it's like a university freshers flu, you're going to bring half the planet in if you get that illness. It's just how it works.
Well, and how this works is if you want to become a friend of GB News for free, here's how you do it.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Paul's going to be here with all the sports news. That's next.
We've got a special gift for you.
Oh, what's this? Oh.
Mum, you're going to be a nan. This Christmas, give the gift of a lifetime. Visit imaginator.co.uk to book your scan today.
Welcome to Havren Furnishers in Llanidloes. For over 50 years, our family have been helping customers turn their houses into homes. Here in our 70,000 square foot showroom, we've got the biggest brands and quality to match. Always with free delivery. With a helping hand from Havren, you'll find what you love, here in the heart of Wales. Visit our showroom or go to havrenfurnishers.co.uk.
What a match! Jeff White Motors Cardiff has over 500 cars in stock. It's quality. A new state-of-the-art showroom with no buyers or admin fees. You can drive away in 60 minutes or buy online. What a fantastic result!
Nathan, you're missing all the action.
It's game on at Jeff White Motors. Jeff White Motors, it's the site you can't afford to miss.
Welcome to Reclaim Nation, where sustainability meets timeless elegance. Choose from on-trend designs while staying mindful of your carbon footprint, crafted from reclaimed wood with a story. Every piece adds character, every detail adds warmth, bringing life and style to your home. Visit reclaimnation.co.uk. Designer furniture that won't cost you the earth.
For some of my greyhound friends, finding the right human was easy. Ruby found hers. She loves evenings by the fire in her latest fashion. And Toby found his. Humans who share his love of tennis balls. Me, I love space. I knew from the moment I met Gracie that she was going to be my human. Thanks to Greyhound Trust, I get to spend my nights looking at the stars. I didn't just find a home, I found my best friend.
Celebrate this Christmas with a unique gift from Gold Reserves, rated the UK's #1 goldsmith. There's plenty to choose from, including a huge selection of ladies' and men's jewellery, contemporary designs in sterling silver, an extensive range of bullion and coins, and our exquisite new and vintage diamond collections. Pick that perfect gift from your independent, family-owned jeweller. Stores located at Swansea, Cardiff and Llanelli, or shop online at goldreserves.co.uk.
Well, less than a week away for the third test in the Ashes. Paul doesn't think it's worth playing. Here we go.
Yeah, I've decided that I'm not interested. There was all this interest about the Ashes. We were so excited about it, and now I really don't know what to do because I don't think it's looking very good, to be honest with you. And you know what? I'm actually going to make it even worse for us.
Oh.
Well, there's only one thing worse I could do, and that's actually speak to someone in Australia who's Australian, who's a cricket expert. What is it? Masochistic, I think it is. Jack Herring from Triple M Cricket, the fine commentator. Look at you smiling already. How are you, Jack?
It's great to talk to you all. I thought we'd be here for a while to talk about how good Australia's been. So I've got a bag full of sweets and we can go for as long as we like.
OK, right. So how good are you and how much are you enjoying it? And is it more you enjoying the cricket or is it the fact that you're beating us Poms there, Jack? Is that how you're enjoying it more?
I think it's C, all of the above, Paul. I think that's what we're enjoying so far. But it's been phenomenal. I've only just got back from Brisbane in the last 24 hours. The atmosphere it's been awesome so far in the series. I mean, it was a shame that we only had a 2-day test in Perth. But this is a real surprise for Australia, I must admit. With no Josh Hazlewood, no Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon not selected for the second test, I think a lot of Australian cricket fans are really surprised that we're 2-0 up in the series.
Well, look, we're worried because we think that it looks like Pat Cummins is going to come back again and probably Nathan Lyon. And it's like, well, where do we go from here? I know Australians look at Bazball, and for those that don't know what Bazball is, it's pretty much free-flowing cricket. This is supposed to be the idea. Go out and play with no fear and do whatever. But it seems to be collapsing in on itself, and Australians never really believed it in the first place. Is that right?
I think so, Paul. And Bazball's fine until it doesn't work. And to me, that seems to be in our commentary box on Triple M Cricket. That seems to be one of the overriding themes so far is that what is England's plan B? What is their plan C? Or even at times, what is their plan D? And at the moment, it doesn't appear as if they've got those sorts of answers.
We don't even have a plan A, let alone a plan B, C, D and E and everything. I know now you've been working. I've listened to some of the commentary and I've loved your work over there in Australia. It's a long way to listen from. But you've had Beefy with you, haven't you, Ian Botham? Now, what does he say about it? Because we heard bits that he was saying it was bad preparation. And what's he like? Because I imagine you don't want to really get on the bad side of Beefy, do you?
No, it is one of my great honours and privilege in this job is to work with people like Ian Botham and Mark Taylor from our commentary team. I know that Beefy's probably like a lot of English pundits at the moment, just shaking his head and wondering how it's got to this point, wondering how they're 2-0 down. He certainly thinks, I mean, in his day, he tells us he was bowling 25, 30 overs a day.
Yeah.
A lot of these English bowlers aren't getting close to that. So, you know, it was fine to have your plans and to say that this is how we're going to do things leading up to the Ashes, but now it's not working. The lack of preparation, the lack of games, the lack of match conditioning, and even from the Brisbane Test, Paul, not playing with a pink ball in the lead-up, that just seems like a really, really strange set of decisions now.
So I guess you're thinking this is going to be 5-0, aren't you, Jack?
Yes, and history would say that if you get 2-0 up in an Ashes series, it's very, very hard to win from there. You might draw, but it's very hard to win. We go to Adelaide next on the 17th, which is a pretty flat wicket as a rule, but Nathan Lyon will come back into that team and be a really big factor in that game as well. And England don't even have a recognised spinner to play. So, yeah, very much advantage Australia at this stage, and we might just start the party a little bit early.
Well, all I can say, Jack, is we just don't care anymore. We were enjoying I thought we'd give the first 2 days. After 2 days of the first one, then the last one, you know what, we've had it with cricket for a while. But listen, it's good to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time. And hopefully you can come back on and, well, when it's 2-1. But I don't know what year that is going to be. Cheers, Jack.
I'm happy to talk to you when it's 3-0, 4-0 and 5-0.
OK. Listen, we love you, so we'll be happy to have you on. Cheers, Jack. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack. Enjoy the sweet.
Happy bunny.
He is. Well, I'm not surprised. Triple M Cricket, he's a great guy.
Having a lovely time.
You know what? And he was actually quite nice. I was expecting him to give me a little bit more.
He could have.
He really could have done.
Well,
but
he was enjoying that, though.
I think he was.
Enjoying
I
that.
think he was, yeah.
Good.
So anyway,
Thanks,
Tuesday, the next one.
Paul will be
14.
back again at around 8:30. Still to come this morning. What do you make of the new British rail trains?
Yeah, lots of debate this morning on how they look. We're going to be discussing that and much more in the papers with Charlotte and Lewis. That's up next after a look at the European weather.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Heavy thundery downpours will continue to affect Cyprus as we go through tomorrow and into Friday, but this unsettled weather, it is going to ease as we head into the weekend. And actually, across many other parts around the Mediterranean, it's looking largely fine. Some decent sunshine to be had as well. Slightly different story, though, across much of Spain. A few outbreaks of rain around, and there is a band of rain sweeping in from the west, so that's going to turn things a bit wetter across Portugal and western Spain as we head towards the end of the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At Holton Stairlifts, we specialise in stocking and fitting stairlifts. With free home surveys, you're in safe hands with our team of experts. With a wide range of new, reconditioned and rentals available, we can provide a solution that fits the majority of UK homes.
I'm so pleased with my stairlift. It's just helped me so much.
With low monthly finance available on a range of products, get in touch today at holtonstairlifts.co.uk to find out more.
Action.
Now, you've probably seen some of our ads on this channel already.
So we thought it's time for you to meet the team behind them.
We're Copper House Films. We create affordable professional TV ads for all businesses.
So if you're watching this right now, chances are you own your own business.
And just as this ad has found you, we can create you an ad that directly targets your customers.
So get in touch with us today and let us make your next ad.
It's time to show the world your business.
Hi! I had weight loss surgery to enjoy more time with my children.
I did it to help improve my type 2 diabetes.
I did it to enjoy long walks and to feel more healthy.
I did it to finally enjoy holidays.
I did it to be healthy for my family.
Tonic weight loss surgery are helping thousands of people nationwide get their lives back. Inquire today for a free consultation.
At TBC Conversions, our wheelchair-accessible vehicles are crafted with the customer at the heart of everything we do. Our team have a passion to provide freedom and independence for clients and will guide you through the purchasing process. At TBC, innovation, quality and attention to detail are second nature. Our continuous rear door seal means our vehicles are warm and quiet. For a free, no-obligation home demonstration, contact us today at tbcconversions.com.
Moving marks a new chapter in life. Wherever you are, wherever you're going, we'll be with you every step of the way. We're here, moving with you through life's moments. For City Moves, every move matters. We're not just moving boxes, we're moving lives. Trust us to move you forward. And now, enjoy 4 weeks of storage for just £1 when you choose City Moves.
Are you a homeowner struggling with debt, at risk of losing your home? The Faster Property Solutions team have 20 years of expertise in helping homeowners to solve financial problems and become debt-free. By stopping repossession, providing cash advances, paying off mortgages, clearing arrears, and much more. Don't be forced to sell your home quickly or accept less than it's worth. Speak to our expert team to find the perfect solution for you. Call or visit fasterpropertysolutions.co.uk.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of Editor-at-Large at The Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, and the podcast host, Lewis Oakley. Morning, you two. Charlotte, let's have a look at Claudia Winkleman, shall we? Who's picked up her
She's over
MBE.
all the papers.
Yeah, pictures of her. Let's have a look at the front of all the papers today, picking up her MBE.
She's the woman of the moment, really, because Celebrity Traitors has been such a success, and now she's picking up her MBE. And I find it fascinating because, of course, her sister, little-known fact, her sister is a member of the royal family. So her sister, Sophie Winkleman, is married to Lord Freddie Windsor. And Sophie was on Peep Show. Do you remember her from Peep Show? She was the first one on Peep Show. And yeah, I mean, they look very different in a way, but, you know, they're apparently really, really close.
They do and they don't. Now I know. I can see
Well, it's hard to tell what Claudia looks like because her fringe covers half her face. But I'm sure she's very beautiful underneath there. And I've also found it quite interesting that Tess Daly, you know, her partner in crime, her Strictly co-presenter, former Strictly co-presenter, she got hers a week ago. So she was sort of, I guess, top of the pecking order. Or maybe maybe Claudia graciously let Tess go ahead of her. I don't know how these rules work.
Well, or maybe it was done in alphabetical order.
Oh, yeah, or it could have just been that.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, does that help with the application process if you've got someone on the inside? I've known a couple of people kind of submit their MBE stuff, and it seems like a bit of a process. But, I mean, it's going great for her, isn't it? She's got The Traitors, that's done well. She's left Strictly. We're hearing rumours of she's got a new talk show coming. So, I mean, it's quite... You know, some people might say, well, does she really deserve it? What's the point? What do these awards even mean? But I think that it shows, you know, someone that's been working really hard for decades now and now is at the top of their game, being rewarded and recognised by the royals. I mean, that's why we have it, right? To kind of say this is, you know, the best of the lot.
But a number of viewers making the point that should she get an MBE for just doing her day job? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. If you guys got an MBE, I'd be like, well done, you deserve it. No, I think it is a lot of what the royal family's about. Setting an example, isn't it? She's shown to the nation, working hard, doing your job well, not too much scandal in your personal life is to be rewarded. And that's a lot of what the royal family's about, isn't it? Setting an example.
Lewis, should we talk about gifts? 'Tis the season and all that.
Yes, let's talk about gifts. So basically, they've done some research and they found that it's always better to give a gift late than not at all. Apparently, the magic window seems to be around 2 weeks. If you leave it 2 months, then people start getting a bit antsy about that. But I think I've definitely been in that position where I've left it a bit too late to send the gift, and then you think, well, should I just hold it for next year?
Yeah.
Is it a bit too late? But, you know, personally, I quite like receiving a late gift because it drags it out, right? It's like, oh, your birthday's all in one day. But then if you're still getting a few gifts a week or two afterwards, it's like, oh, it's quite nice.
Yeah,
It's something I didn't know I was going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice treat, isn't it? I think it's quite nice when it's someone's birthday, if you just say, look, I'll take you out for tea or something, take you out for lunch, and then it's 6 months later. Lovely.
Yeah, an experience rather than a gift.
Yeah, an experience, something to look forward to.
The Times is saying it negatively affects people's relationships if you don't bother getting them a gift at all. And I've just got one counter to that. If somebody gives me a gift and they haven't unwrapped it, taking it out of the Amazon box, or just put it in a bag, that negatively affects my relationship with them. I actually think that's not effort.
I do worse than that. My kids would always say, I hadn't got time to wrap it.
I hate that, Eamonn.
So you had nothing. So you don't even get it in a bag or with tissue paper on top or anything like that.
I think that's really insulting. You have to have a go at your kids about that.
What about when... so I do this where if I'm sending gifts to, like, my cousin's kids, I'll say, look, I've ordered it on Amazon, it's coming, but you'll need to wrap it for me. Because what am I supposed to do? Have it delivered to my house, wrap it, then send it again? I haven't got time for that.
That's where the effort is.
It's a waste of time too, isn't it?
Just clicking a button.
Is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And to find someone that will actually wrap for you is the key to life.
Exactly. That's why it's so important. It shows you really love someone because everyone hates wrapping.
It's true. And it's so time-consuming. Charlotte, let's have a look at this story about the police force, shall we? And this talk of mega forces. Tell us about this in the Times today.
Shabana Mahmood is going to reduce the number of police forces to 12. So there'll be kind of big regional police forces. And my opinion on this is that anything that makes something, I call it blobifying the world, you know, anything that makes something into a big blob that you can't really control, centralised control, I'm very suspicious of. Like, we all know that having bobbies on the beat is quite a good thing. Having a local GP that actually knows you, that you see the same person every time, that's very good. So this idea that you'd have a big centralised, sort of reduced to only 12 police forces, I find a bit dystopian.
Charlotte, we've just had some breaking news. Just want to get your views on this. This is on the Duchess of Sussex, and we know that she's been struggling to contact her father, Thomas Markle, who had his leg amputated, or a part of his leg amputated, in a hospital in the Philippines. A spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex has just told GB News, given that a Daily Mail reporter has remained at her father's bedside throughout, broadcasting each interaction and breaching clear ethical boundaries, it has been exceedingly difficult for the Duchess to contact her father privately, despite her efforts over the past several days. With the support of reliable and trusted contacts, her correspondence is now safely in his hands. Because there was talk of having a written note given to him from the Duchess of Sussex. What do you make of that?
Very hostile briefing out from the Duchess of Sussex spokesperson there. I would say this. The Duchess of Sussex has not been in touch with her father for several years now and let him flounder, actually, at the very beginning. You know, she didn't give him any guidance, and neither did Harry. They could have flown somebody out there to meet him. He did make a mistake, which was posing for some paparazzi photos. And that was an error, and it was a grave betrayal of trust. But the man was completely and utterly clueless. He was not expecting one day to turn around and find his daughter had married a prince. Now, they left him to deal with that alone, and he dealt with it badly, and then they've left him for the subsequent 7 years. And in that void, you know, he's formed friendships, and, you know, one of them is with a journalist from my newspaper, and, you know, but what is the man to do? He's a very lonely man. He's living in the Philippines. And really, he just had no way of reaching out to his daughter, and he's absolutely been desperate to reach out to his daughter. And he ended up speaking to all forms of the media, newspapers and television channels, out of desperation, because she completely and utterly ghosted him. So, you know, I think it's a bit unkind now to swoop in and say, how dare he have a friendship with a journalist. Happens all the time. You know, actually, the royals have friendships with journalists.
Well, I would be furious. I'm sorry. If my dad and I had issues that was none of anyone's business, and then he went to the paper and said he won't talk to me, I'd be like, well, I'm definitely not talking to you now. Like, reach out privately. The fact that he's going to journalists to do all this is not... That's not, to me, like, oh, you know, I want to reset the clock and like, start forgiveness. That's like, why are you dragging the entire world into this? I would be annoyed, and I know that there's a lot pointed at Meghan here, like, well, she's a bad person. Look, her dad's there, and he's lost his leg, and, you know, she doesn't care. And it's like, we don't know what's going on. This is a private family matter, and I think, you know, there are a lot of people that don't speak to their families. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. There's things that have gone on that none of our business, and that's it. So I don't like this kind of, like, pointing at Meghan and Harry to try and say they're bad people over this. Like, we don't know what's happened between these people.
Well, there you go. GB News understands that Thomas Markle has received a letter from the Duchess of Sussex. We'll bring you any more updates as we get it here on GB News.
Now, Lewis, matter exists in 3 states: solid, liquid and gas.
Or so we thought.
So we thought.
Yeah, so now there's this new form that they found, so a sort of fourth element, if you will. And then, you know, I quite like with science, where it's like, you know, we kind of thought that was settled science, then we come back, we say, actually, new technology, we've found something else. A lot of people say, well, what does it matter how many states of matter there are? Who cares? But actually, it's discoveries like this that lead to revolutions for us humans, where, right, we can make new materials now that are, you know, better and serve us better. So it's an interesting discovery. Let's see what they can create from it.
Charlotte,
I'm just so glad I gave up chemistry at GCSE. I have to say, I am quite surprised that a 4th state has been discovered now. Yeah. I can't believe that hasn't been discovered before. Yeah. I love that you're so scientific, though. I find that brilliant. We were talking about it back in the green room, and you were so knowledgeable.
I'm just really enthusiastic. I'm a kid that grew up on sci-fi and watching Star Trek, so I'm all for, like, new, you know, AI and new matter and all this kind of thing, because I just think it benefits us so greatly.
Yeah, who knows what it could bring.
Lewis, let's stick with you, actually, and look at this story. The Premier League of Monogamy. This is in the Times this morning.
Yeah, this is quite an extensive study. They're trying to figure out where humans sit in the monogamy table. Apparently, humans are 66% monogamous, and we're in 7th place amongst other... It was just done on mammals, so they didn't consider snakes in this or anything like that. But... Look, I think there's always been this debate, right, around monogamy. Is it that actually we're socially conditioned through religion and marriage that actually we should remain monogamous, and is it really our natural state? And the debate will continue. I think the main thing is people just need to be honest. You know, I run an advice column. People will write into me on kind of topics around this thing, and it's just, for me, it's always about being honest. If you don't want to be monogamous, that's totally fine. Just make sure your partner knows that, so you're not... You know, you're not putting yourself or them in a uncomfortable situation. And I think it's interesting, in the podcasting world, which I obviously do a lot of work in, there's a big thing about a year ago about actually maybe the human beings are supposed to be monogamous for 7 years, because apparently there's some science behind, oh, that's enough time to kind of get, you know, have a child and get them to a decent age. And then actually, you know, there's the 7-year itch is like a big thing. They're saying there may be some science behind that, is actually we like to be monogamous for a bit. So it's interesting. I mean, it's each to their own, right? Whatever you want to do.
I thought it was very cute that the Californian deer mouse is #1 in the rankings of faithfulness.
And I think the African wild dog is #2. And the name African wild dog makes you think not very monogamous.
Not monogamous.
Turns out pretty monogamous. 85% monogamous.
Yeah, and bottlenose dolphins, who you'd think would be really, really cute.
Yeah.
And mate for life, no. Bottom 10, 4.1%.
They break your heart.
Yeah, dolphins run wild and free, apparently.
Oh well.
So there you go, now you know.
And, of course, they're in the mammals list, because we've learnt that in biology. One subject that did pay attention.
A lot of science this morning.
Yeah.
You say dolphins run wild and free?
Yeah, dolphins aren't monogamous. Only 4% of them are faithful.
Have you ever touched a dolphin?
Yes.
Not very nice.
So smooth.
It's not smooth.
Oh, my one was smooth.
I think you were telling fibs.
I did.
The thing is, it looks smooth, but when you touch a dolphin, it's very rough.
Oh, my one was quite nice. Where were you touching dolphins?
In the ocean.
Oh, they were wild and free.
It's a real dolphin.
I was in
Have you ever touched a dolphin?
I've never touched a dolphin, but I do know that of all the animals, they know that there's plenty more fish in the sea.
Oh, very good, Charlotte. Boom, boom. Yes, very good.
Proud of myself for that one.
Let us know what you think of any of those stories. gbnews.com/you'll-say. Thank you very much, Charlotte and Lewis. We'll see you in about 45 minutes' time. Let's get checked now on the weather, shall we? Because Storm Bram is still out there.
Still
Yellow
out
weather
there
warnings
for a
in
while
place.
at least.
Let's get all the details.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other, where you'll find elegant design for every room in your home. Housing Units, where fresh ideas and inspiration are part of the experience. From our home to yours, explore new styles and offers in store and online. Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other. Sale is now on.
Been to Poland? You'd love it. There's Warsaw, really picturesque. Don't forget to look up. Journey north to the famous port of Gdansk. And when you've done that, you can go to Hell Beach, that is. Go south to gorgeous Krakow. There's great bars and restaurants in its charming square. Or Wrocław, the Venice of Poland, with over 100 bridges. Or trek in the stunning mountain ranges. Not forgetting the traditional Christmas markets. Poland, more than just a destination.
Hi, I'm Richard from Aqua Warehouse in Chelmsford, and I just wanted to show you our amazing showroom. We have hot tubs, swim spas, outdoor kitchens, and even outdoor buildings. Our staff are friendly and knowledgeable. So come over and see us at Aqua Warehouse in Chelmsford. We'll see you soon.
New driver, George? How on earth did you afford that?
I got cash in my old gold and jewellery from Great British Gold.
Great British Gold? How does that work?
Oh, it's easy. You send them all your old gold and jewellery in a free envelope and they'll send the money right to you.
Sounds good.
It is. They value each piece, and if it's worth more than its weight in gold, they'll pay you a fair price.
Great shot!
Order your free envelope today by visiting greatbritishgold.co.uk.
I love your place.
Thanks. Could you grab some carrots?
Sure. What's this?
That's for Pepper.
You keep dog food in your fridge?
It's not dog food, it's fresh pep. Real meat, real veggies.
That you feed your dog. So it's dog food.
You were so right about her.
Visit freshpet.com to find your nearest supermarket.
Candlelight is a trusted brand in candles and home fragrance. You'll find Candlelight in most garden centres, independents and other retailers across the UK. Looking for that perfect finishing touch for your home? Candlelight has been bringing style, luxury and beautiful fragrance to homes for decades. From elegant candles and room sprays to reed diffusers and wax melts, and now introducing our fragrance bath and body range for your holistic experience. Support local, discover Candlelight. Available now at your local stockist.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British Airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from Britain.
That's according to the National Audit Office's 3-year investigation, which has found that Labour's approach to migration is unrealistic and accommodation is causing significant costs to the taxpayer.
The report was heavily critical of Home Office monitoring, stating that robust data gathering was not a priority and there was a culture of tolerating and working around data that is not fit for purpose.
Well, the findings raise fresh questions about the effectiveness of the government's immigration policies and any hope of fixing the mounting crisis.
Some breaking news for you. GB News understands that Thomas Markle has received a letter from his daughter Meghan. It follows widespread claims that he hadn't heard from her since having emergency leg amputation surgery.
An alliance to finally stop the small boats crisis in the Channel. Nigel Farage teams up with the French presidential frontrunner as they plot a plan to stop the small boat crossings.
The first serving member of British Armed Forces has been killed in Ukraine since the war began. He died in what's been described as a tragic accident.
Things are happening to Europe, you know, that their immigration policies are so bad. They're so bad. They're destroying our beautiful Europe. I love Europe. They're destroying Europe, and they better do something.
President Trump criticizes European leaders, describing them as weak, and says their countries are decaying.
The Home Secretary has appointed Baroness Longfield to lead the national inquiry into grooming gangs.
And attention now turns to the reactions of the survivors. Will this inquiry gain their confidence? And also, people will be assessing the terms of reference. Does it have enough powers and enough scope to get to the truth?
A danger to life weather warning is in place as Storm Bram batters Britain with a month's worth of rain and winds of up to 90 miles per hour.
And with just 15 days until the big day, Christmas Day, we're joined in the studio by a man who's going to be very, very busy at this time of the year. Ho, ho, ho.
Father Christmas himself. Can't wait.
And in sport this morning, Liverpool fans show whose side they're on between Mo Salah and the manager Arne Slot as they beat Inter in Milan. Heung-min Son returns to say his goodbyes to Spurs fans as they beat Slavia Prague 3-0. Not so good for Chelsea though in the Champions League as they lose to Atalanta.
The strongest winds and the heaviest rain from Storm Bram has now started to clear, but it is still going to be potentially stormy across some parts of Scotland today. I'll have more details coming up.
It is a Wednesday morning. You're very welcome with us until 9:30. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
We begin this hour of the programme by talking to the Shadow Chancellor. We say hello, good morning, welcome to Mel Stride. Mel Stride, you're going to be tough on the Chancellor today. You've tabled a formal censure motion against her. On what basis?
Well, good morning, Eamonn. Well, on the basis that she's misled the British people. She said back in the Labour Party manifesto they wouldn't be raising taxes on working people. That's precisely what she did in the recent budget. In her first budget, of course, when she did the same thing, she said she wouldn't be coming back for yet more tax, and she has. And what are the choices the government's taken? Well, the Chancellor has raised taxes on hard-working people in order to put up the benefits bill, and most people feel that that is the wrong choice. There's also the issue of having misled the public at a press conference on the 4th of November as to the state of the finances, the public finances, making out they were far worse than they actually were in order to create a smokescreen for the kind of tax increases that the Chancellor was floating at that time. And I think all in all, people have lost confidence. We are there in Parliament to hold the government to account, and I will be leading that debate in Parliament later on this afternoon.
But it is purely a debate. I mean, you don't expect her to resign as a result of this, I'm sure. What do you expect her to do? Does she say, I'm very, very sorry about this, Mr. Stride, it'll not happen again?
Well, we are actually asking the terms of the motion for an apology. This could go to the vote. Of course, we don't have a majority, but this is one of the devices in Parliament. It's called an Opposition Day debate, in which oppositions can hold the government to account. And we believe that we have a very strong duty on behalf of all those people up and down the country suffering under this high tax, businesses struggling really hard at the moment because of the mismanagement of the economy and the fact that people have been misled on so many issues, including those that I've just run through, Eamonn.
Can I ask you about Jordan Bardella? He is far and away the favourite to become the next French president, and he met Nigel Farage for lunch yesterday in London. He says he wants to work with Nigel Farage, who he thinks is going to be the next British Prime Minister. He also says he's going to allow Britain to push back boats in the Channel, which would drastically bring down the number of small boats that are crossing the Channel. Do you think, in that sense, you need to rethink this idea of a pact with reform, a merger with reform, if Nigel Farage's and Bardella's partnership is actually going to stop the boats in the Channel?
Well, I think firstly, Ellie, the point is that you're looking with the Reform Party and the National Rally at two parties that are not yet into government, so they both got a long way to go,
leading the polls
in that sense. In terms Well, that may be, but in the case of our election here in the UK, of course, we've got 3.5 to 4 years before a general election, and a lot can change during that time. The reason, or one of the principal reasons, we should not be getting involved with reform is on the economy. They are fantasy economists, and Nigel Farage has already resigned from several of the major commitments that reform actually made in their last manifesto, because he's effectively accepted that the numbers don't add up, including taking everybody up to £20,000 worth of income out of income tax altogether at a cost of about £80 billion, which is about half what we spend on our 1.5 million people working in the health service. These are eye-watering promises, but with no clear and realistic plan for delivery. And what my party is about, the Conservative Party, is fiscal responsibility, living within our means, making sure we take the tough choices, like getting the welfare bill down, the benefits bill down, so that we can put money into tax cuts and getting our debt down. And that is the responsible thing to do, and that is not what reform is offering, I'm afraid.
What are we offering to Ukraine, Shadow Chancellor? The fact that this British soldier has been killed there, sadly. It'll be hard to find out exactly what he was doing, but I mean, I suppose the government have admitted that he was there, and if he was there, others are there as well. How big is our involvement, and do we have boots on the ground?
So I don't know the answer to those questions, Eamonn, and as I think you say, I think the MOD has not really commented much on that situation, other than, of course, all our thoughts are with that person's friends and family at the sort of tragic at his tragic loss. But look, on Ukraine more generally, what we need to do is make sure that we coordinate with our partners, particularly our European partners at the moment, in terms of having stronger defence ourselves, and that means you need an economy that can afford that, and I'm afraid this government's not providing that at the moment. But also make sure we support Ukraine in what is a very difficult time around these negotiations. And I don't think it's realistic to see a situation where Russia can be expected to be given, for example, the whole of the Donbass, restrictions on the size of the Ukraine army, and an undertaking that Ukraine will not join NATO at any point, and not have robust security guarantees in place to underpin any peace agreement. So there's a long way to go to get an agreement, but around those principles I think we have to work closely with our European partners in order to get towards a satisfactory outcome.
When we talk about the National Audit Office investigation, it's found that fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from the UK. It also reveals that the Home Office doesn't know how many asylum seekers have absconded, and also doesn't know the true cost of the asylum system to the British taxpayer. What's your response to this report, and is the Home Office fit for purpose?
Well, look, clearly these are very unsatisfactory findings, and my response really would be that whilst the government said that it was going to get a grip on small boats and it was all going to be terribly easy and they were going to deal with France and so on and so forth, they've completely failed to do so. Numbers have been going up. I mean, this one in, one out arrangement that they came to with the French has had absolutely no impact whatsoever as far as I can see. We have a very clear approach to getting back on top of and control of illegal migration. That involves stepping out of the European Convention of Human Rights so that we can deport people more swiftly, making sure if people come here illegally, they are intercepted and they are removed from our country within just 1 week. So it really is that kind of level of deterrent that is going to stop this from happening, because at the moment, of course, people are calculating that they pay money to these traffickers, and they've got every likelihood they're going to be able to get here and stay here, and that is what needs to be reversed, and that's what our plan would do.
And finally, can we ask you on this blueprint for police reform, Shabana Mahmood looking at reducing the number of police forces in the country from 43 to 12 mega forces, the idea being that they would be able to share intelligence, resources and funding and things like that. Are you supportive of this plan?
Well, we don't know the full details of the plan. It's just been announced. In fact, I think the Home Secretary has delayed the white paper she was going to be coming forward with on police reform until into the new year. So, of course, we'll have a very close look at it then. But look, I think on the general point about policing, we have a clear plan for 20,000 more police, hotspot policing in those areas where crime is a particular problem, as opposed to what this government has been doing, which is, amongst other things, policing the internet and social media rather than clamping down on the kind of crime that people care about, such as shoplifting, which has actually risen by 20% on this government's watch. So we'll look at those plans when they are put forward in their entirety. But in the meantime, I think the government has got a lot of lost ground to make up.
Shadow Chancellor, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it. We say goodbye to you. Thank you very much. Our chief political correspondent, Catherine Forster, was watching and listening to that interview. Catherine.
Yes, well, on this Opposition Day debate that the Conservatives are bringing forward today, of course it's not going to change anything, but what they're doing is they want to keep the focus on Rachel Reeves, on what they say is a misleading of the general public. They want to absolutely keep the focus, keep the pressure on that, and I think that's what this is about. Just like the Liberal Democrats yesterday had a vote on rejoining a customs union, which passed, but doesn't actually change anything. I thought, listening to him talking about reform, they say that they're fantasy economists. The Tory argument now is we are the grown-ups, we are the party of living within our means. Look at all these other promises that Reform are making, and look at how Labour are putting up your taxes on working people to pay for benefits. Of course, they are the party of Liz Truss, but they feel that they are beginning to turn the corner. Their fortunes are getting a little bit better. Kemi Badenoch's doing much better in PMQs. Let's see how she goes today. But of course, all the momentum, again, is Nigel Farage had this meeting yesterday with the guy who may well be running France in just a couple of years. And so for all the Tories trying to get the headlines, Nigel Farage tends to pip them to the post on that.
OK. Catherine, thank you very much.
A new chair has finally been appointed to lead the long-delayed national inquiry into grooming and rape gangs.
Well, former Children's Commissioner Baroness Anne Longfield says she will not shy away from difficult truths as she takes on the 3-year, £65 million investigation.
Now, her appointment comes after months of setbacks, including candidates dropping out and members of the Victim Liaison Panel resigning over concerns into the inquiry's scope.
Well, we can now speak to GB News national reporter Charlie Peters on this. Charlie, we finally have a chair. Is she an appropriate fit?
Well, she was a Labour peer until yesterday, so she's resigned the whip. Already some questions being raised about independence from that perspective. Also a background in the children's sector, supporting children. That's for allies of the government, and they're saying that she has a track record of fighting for children.
Charlie, I think, sorry, we think we've got problems with your microphone. It may not be switched on. Are you aware if you can just press that blue button?
Oh, there you go. It's not switched on.
Just give it 5 seconds and it'll warm up and should get to you.
Should we try that again?
Let's try that again. Is she an appropriate chair?
Well, she was a Labour peer until yesterday, so she's now resigned the whip for this new role. However, she does have a background in working with children, supporting children in her role as the Children's Commissioner. One of the top questions that survivors and campaigners will have for the government is that they've said that this inquiry will look at the issue and will uncover the truth, but their terms of reference published yesterday stress that it will not be exhaustive. To use that language in what they've already published has already raised a few eyebrows. It will start from January 2000. Of course, we know that there's evidence of this crisis stretching back from decades before then. The terms of reference also confirm that it will not look into every area where this abuse has happened. This is a truly national issue.
So it's not a national inquiry?
Well, they say that this will be targeted local investigations responding to a national panel. But the concern that we've heard from survivors in many different towns and cities overnight reacting to this news is they will be asking, will my area be included? Will I be left out of this national inquiry because my part of the country isn't included? If it's not exhaustive, if it doesn't go to every area, then how can we get a full scale of the issue? And so crucial to that, of course, is the trafficking links, how organised criminality links these gangs through drugs and guns right across the country. They're not isolated in any way. Another concern we've heard as well is that The terms of reference they've published refer to the assessing the background of the perpetrators and the victims, their ethnicity, their culture and their religion. But it doesn't say anything in terms of reference about whether or not those factors affected the motivation behind the crimes. We know that a lot of white children were targeted because they were white. They were racially aggravated crimes. We also know that, through our own research, that many of these gangs are organised through clan and kinship, and that cousin marriage has played a role in linking them through these networks. So for the inquiry not to have specific wording that it'll focus on how those motivations and links were organised was concerning, although we did put that question to the Home Office Minister Mike Tapp yesterday, and he stressed that they will be assessing the links between those three factors and the motivations of offenders. It's all very good hearing a Home Office Minister say that. The real proof will be whether or not it's in the terms of reference itself, because that is what will direct this investigation. Just one more thing. The chair of this inquiry was not spoken to by the survivors on the panel before she was selected. Baroness Longfield will meet them later this week. Previously, we were told that that survivor panel had been set up to help draft the terms of reference and to help select a chair. Well, the chair has been selected and they weren't involved in speaking to her. They will meet her and her two expert panel members later this week for their perspectives. Already, we've heard quite a few questions that they want to put to her.
Thank you very much indeed, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, and thank you for your hard work on this. Thank you.
So this storm Bram has been causing chaos for the past day or so. Let's see what it's up to today. Alex Burkill.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now still to come, we're very excited about this one, aren't we? Just 15 days to go until Christmas Day. We're going to be joined by the man who makes the day so special for people all around the world. Father Christmas himself, a very busy man, is going to be in the GB News studio with us in just a few moments' time.
Discover our new seasonal ranges at madisonandmayfair.com. We've got thousands of luxury products for your home. From decor and furnishings to scents and fragrances, kitchenware to furniture, shop now and discover beautiful items to brighten your living space, business or home office. Whether you're shopping for yourself or looking for the perfect gift, we've got style for every room. Visit madisonandmayfair.com today and discover the home of interior excellence.
Wherever and whenever. Trust Trailfinders to take care of you. Visit or call us on 0207 368 1200.
Discover comfort and style at Home Store Interiors in Swansea. As a Blue Badge holder, you can enjoy VAT-free reclining chairs and much more. Visit us today for the best in-home comfort, tailored just for you. Home Store Interiors, where everyone feels at home. Home Store Interiors, Gosignan Road, Swansea.
Custom-made signs and graphics in all shapes and sizes. Whatever you're looking for, give us a try. Backed by our price promise, we will beat any like-for-like quote. Discover more at wnlprinting.co.uk.
Right here. Celebrate this Christmas with a unique gift from Gold Reserves, rated the UK's #1 goldsmith. There's plenty to choose from, including a huge selection of ladies' and men's jewellery, contemporary designs in sterling silver, an extensive range of bullion and coins, and our exquisite new and vintage diamond collections. Pick that perfect gift from your independent, family-owned jeweller. Stores located at Swansea, Cardiff and Llanelli, or shop online at goldreserves.co.uk.
Homewood Grove is a brand new lifestyle community exclusively for the over 60s, where you can enjoy a spacious new home set among landscape gardens on the outskirts of Chertsey in Surrey. A beautifully designed contemporary village intended with your enjoyment and well-being in mind, with a host of amenities and a range of activities to enjoy. Reserve your new home today.
Looking for new tools? Well, look no further than ITS. We are the home of power tools, hand tools, workwear and all the tools you need, boasting some of the biggest ranges of DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee and all the big brands anywhere in the UK. And our customers love us. We've got over 45,000 five-star reviews with next day delivery available 7 days a week. The next time you need tools, make sure you look at ITS.
Now, boys and girls, it turns out that children right across the country are getting very curious about Father Christmas's big night. And many of you are very worried and you're asking the all-important question, how does he get into our home?
Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it? Especially if you don't have a chimney in your house like me. I've been worrying about this. It's one of the questions that I've been asking. Well, we're very lucky and very privileged this morning to be able to ask the man himself. He's been very busy, and of course he's going to be very busy. Santa joins us in the GB News studio. Morning, Santa.
Well, a very good morning to both of you.
Well, it's a long time since I've sat in your knee, Santa.
I remember it very well, Eamonn.
I'm sure you still have the bruises. We'll just shake hands today.
Well, you're a very busy man, so we're very lucky to get to speak to you.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Santa, how come... Now, it's leading up. How long is there to go?
15 days.
15 days to go. All your little helpers, I presume, are working away, getting everything ready.
My goodness me. You know, I have so many helpers, of course, not just in the North Pole, but all over the world. People in this country. As a matter of fact, even my friends at British Gas, they have Santa helpers that look just like me. They've been going to people's homes to make sure that the children are happy, as well as fixing their problems with boilers and things.
Oh, because things can go wrong, even though it's Christmas Day.
Yes, indeed. That's absolutely true, you know. But listen, I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. The elf helpers, my friends, everybody all over the world that helps Santa, we've got the matter in hand. And this is going to be the most wonderful, magicalest Christmas ever.
Oh, it is. Santa, we've got lots of people getting in touch and they're a bit worried because they don't have a chimney in their house and they're worried about how you're going to get in.
Yes, this one comes up quite a lot, but can I let you in on a little secret? The truth is that many centuries ago, the elves crafted a strange, magical key just for me. Now, this key can fit any lock in the entire world. Chimney or no chimney, I can get into every home. every home that is full of Christmas spirit and the love and giving of Christmas. It will bypass any security system, and I, Santa Claus, can get in to deliver all the presents in just one night.
And talking about Christmas spirit, do you like people leaving you a bit of Christmas spirit?
Well, I am quite partial to minced pies, as are you. Of course, candy canes and cookies are also some of my favourites, and a lovely big glass of milk if possible. If it's not too much trouble, carrots for the reindeer, please.
Oh, you can't forget the carrots.
You can't.
And Father Christmas, how do you get around the whole world in just one night?
Ah, yes. Again, this comes up so much. Again, it's all down to a special type of Christmas magic. You see, for me, Santa, time has its own special, unique quality on Christmas Eve. Indeed, time slows down for me and me alone. And what might seem like a couple of hours to you might be microseconds to me. And the truth is that with a combination of Christmas magic, I can deliver billions of presents, all in just one night.
Yeah.
And for little boys and girls who are watching this morning and are maybe a bit worried because they haven't been very good for Mummy and Daddy this year, is there still time for them to turn it around?
Redeem themselves.
To redeem themselves. 15 days to go.
Well, the truth is, yes, there is. You see, any boys and girls that are watching, let me tell you right now, all you have to do is be extra good between now and Christmas. And if you do that, I'm sure I can still bring you something very special to open on Christmas.
That is a great message. Santa, thank you very, very much indeed.
It's lovely to see you.
It's delightful talking to you. And I still like Captain Scarlet things.
Indeed. I've got it specially wrapped for you. I got your letter in crayon.
And I like shoes and handbags. I know you already know that.
You got it. I'll see what I can do.
Just to let you know. Thanks, Santa. So good to see you. Good luck in the next 2 weeks.
Merry Christmas, one and all.
Well, we can do our Santa thing now because we can be the givers of the Great British Giveaway, and you can win it.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money and it could be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, Santa was just saying to me, Eamonn, he said, when I'm heading out and about, what would the roads be like today?
Well, he'll need to know that, won't he?
He will. And I said, and here's how you'll find out, Santa. Here's the traffic news.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A82 is closed in both directions at Stony Mollen due to a severe incident. In Salford, expect delays on the M602 eastbound between junctions 2 and 3 following a collision affecting one of 2 lanes. Traffic is backed up with delays of 40 minutes. Meanwhile, traffic on the A5 southbound in Bedfordshire between the A4146 south and the A4012 is experiencing 30-minute congestion. And on the trains, cross-country services face disruption between Penzance and St Erth, and similar issues prevail on the Elizabeth line between London Paddington and Abbey Wood. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, Paul's going to be here with all the latest in the sports world. That's next.
Buying a recliner chair can be a real hassle. At Channel Recliners, we get it. No pushy sales tactics, just a stress-free experience. Each chair is expertly measured by our qualified professionals to ensure it's a perfect fit for you. And here's the best part, honest, upfront pricing with absolutely no hidden fees. Call us today and schedule your completely free home assessment service.
We've got a special gift for you.
Oh, what's this? Oh.
Mum, you're going to be a nan. This Christmas, give the gift of a lifetime. Visit imaginator.co.uk to book your scan today.
What a match! Jeff White Motors Cardiff has over 500 cars in stock. It's quality. A new state-of-the-art showroom with no buyers or admin fees. You can drive away in 60 minutes or buy online. What a fantastic result!
Nathan, you're missing all the action.
It's game on at Jeff White Motors. Jeff White Motors, it's the sight you can't afford to miss.
From big events to intimate dining, choose the award-winning boutique hotel and events venue, the Thomas Paine Hotel. Enjoy delicious food, including dishes using local produce from local farmers. Join us for a premium champagne or cocktail, or a sweet afternoon treat. Whatever you're celebrating, celebrate with us. For your next event, contact the Thomas Paine Hotel, Thetford.
For some of my greyhound friends, finding the right human was easy. Ruby found hers. She loves evenings by the fire in her latest fashion. And Toby found his. Humans who share his love of tennis balls. Me, I love space. I knew from the moment I met Gracie that she was going to be my human. Thanks to Greyhound Trust, I get to spend my nights looking at the stars. I didn't just find a home, I found my best friend.
Right, Nan. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, lovely.
Hope you like it.
Where did you get this filth from?
I got it online at www.
I told you our products are too twisted to be on TV.
You, stop filming. You get rid of that card. Mum, you should know better.
Sorry, lovely.
Do you want to see what all the fuss is about? Well, visit twisted.kids online.
Just a bit of a royal update. We understand that Thomas Markle has received a letter from his daughter, Meghan. Let's go to our royal correspondent, Cameron Walker, and he will tell us more about what we understand of this situation. Cameron.
Morning, Eamonn. Yeah, it's the most bizarre situation, to be honest. I've received a statement in the last half an hour or so from the Duchess's spokesperson. I'll just read it out. It says, given that the Daily Mail reporter has remained at her father's bedside throughout, broadcasting each interaction and breaching clear ethical boundaries, it has been exceedingly difficult for the Duchess to contact her father privately, despite her efforts over the past several days. With the support of reliable and trusted contacts, her correspondence is now safely in her hands. And I understand that means a letter has been handed from Meghan to Thomas Markle. So let's just rewind slightly here. Thomas Markle ended up in intensive care and had his leg amputated. And he texted a journalist who he has become friends with, really, over the last 8 years or so, after Meghan became very estranged from her father in a run-up to Harry and Meghan's wedding. Her father posed for paparazzi photographs for payments, a mistake, but Meghan essentially just kind of cut off her father there. And when she heard reports that her father was incredibly ill in the newspapers, I think she tried to reach out. She first sent an email to the only contact she had for him. Thomas no longer used that email address. She doesn't have her phone number anymore, even though Thomas insists that she does. But it became the most bizarre situation because we have a journalist literally at the bedside of Thomas Markle, recording what Thomas is saying and then obviously publishing it in the newspaper. So from Meghan's perspective and Meghan's team's perspective, that's breaching ethical boundaries. I think the Daily Mail would probably point out that this isn't on a whim and they're not invading Thomas's privacy, because everything they are publishing is with Thomas's absolute permission, and Thomas has a very trusted relationship with the US Mail on Sunday editor Caroline Graham. So this is effectively the first contact Thomas and Meghan have had since the run-up to that wedding in 2018. So it is an important step. It could be perhaps the start of some kind of reconciliation, but I just don't see how any reconciliation can take place when there's a Daily Mail journalist in the room, or any kind of journalist in the room for that matter. So I think it's going to be a tricky situation. Is Meghan going to fly to the Philippines? Well, according to the Mail, Thomas Markle doing a lot better than he was. He's no longer in intensive care. He's in a hospital room. He's got a long road ahead for recovery, but it looks like he's stable for now.
OK.
We could have offered her a lift with Santa. He's out and about now today in his sleigh. But Cameron, thank you very much indeed. And Santa's just the person to fix up all sorts of problems like that.
Yeah. Cameron, thank you very much for that update. Right, let's have a look at all the sports news with Paul Coyte, who's here with us. Morning.
Santa's busy enough, though, Eamonn.
Yeah.
Santa's got a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. It smells of reindeer.
Does it?
Yeah. I thought, what is that?
That's how he got
It's
here.
reindeer, that's what it is.
The Rangers are outside.
Inter Milan 0, Liverpool 1.
Santa could maybe intervene with Mo Salah and Arnie, what's his name?
Arnie, what's his name? I tell you what, I don't know whether Santa could do anything with this one. This is... The battle lines are drawn, and this is a really important result, probably for Arne Slot, even more than normal because of the whole Mo Salah situation, that he was left at home after he complained and said he should be playing and said there's a conspiracy about him. Anyway, we don't know what's going to happen with Mo Salah, but as far as Arne Slot's concerned, it's a really important win. So it's over in the San Siro. And you know what? It really is, because Inter Milan haven't lost in the Champions League at home for like 18 games. And fans were actually singing Arne Slot's name at the game, not Mo Salah's name. So I think it's pretty safe to say that they're very much on Arne Slot's side. So it's now over to Mo Salah. What does he do now? Because maybe he can see which way the wind's blowing and think maybe he should apologise about what he said, and maybe another reconciliation is on the cards with this one as well.
Or is
so we'll
it the
have to
end
see
of the
how that
road?
goes.
Who knows?
Yeah, it could be off to Saudi Arabia. They're playing Brighton at the weekend. So is he going to be in the squad? Will he be on the bench? Mark Lawrenson thought he might just be on the bench. We'll have to see. But it is quite a saga.
Another row, FIFA being accused of breaching its own rules after meeting up with Donald Trump this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bizarre draw, wasn't it? Did you see the draw? It was a very bizarre thing. It took,
Star-studded.
Well, Donald Trump got the award, didn't he? And it was a new FIFA Peace Prize. And whichever way you think about Donald Trump or whichever way you think about FIFA, it was a bizarre thing to have all of a sudden this brand new award, which was a peace prize on behalf of FIFA, a football organisation, which they then awarded to the American president. So there's now a human rights group which is called Fair Square. They've written a letter of complaint alleging that Gianni Infantino broke 4 neutrality rules. So they've now gone to FIFA's department to deal with. Well, I mean, good luck with that, because if they go to FIFA over their FIFA president, we know where that's
policing itself.
It's going nowhere. I've got to show you this. I've got to show you these wingsuit athletes, by the way. Have a look.
Okay, now what is a wingsuit?
Wingsuit. Have you seen where they before we have a look at it? We jump off buildings and they have like suits that are like wings and then just fly.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary. Look, have a look at this. Wingsuit athletes, Danny Roman and Fred Fugan. Now they flew between the buildings in the Bahrain World Trade Center. Now they've gone from 4,000 feet. From a helicopter. There they are. They're just... And they go up to... Now, this is a combined velocity of 440 kilometres an hour. Does that mean between the two of them, or does that mean they both get to that speed? I don't know. But now watch as they fly through this buildings. It's absolutely terrifying. Look at it. Look at this. Look at that. And they're filming it. Straight through the middle of that. My goodness. And the speed that they're going... And both of them have done it.
And to make a mistake...
I can barely watch.
And if you're listening on the radio, it's like 2 towers.
It's like 2 knives.
They're so sharp, and there's not much space between them. And the speed that they're going, look, they're like bullets.
And they both go through at the same time, which is more bonkers.
And they both go through at the same time.
bonkers.
Honestly.
Rather them than me.
Absolutely.
But they've lived to tell the tale.
I know, but then, you know, they do another one and another one. I worry for them. But anyway, it is crazy, isn't it?
That is
Look at this. Look at that again. Speed, they're going right through the middle there.
We'll give it a go at the weekend, Paul.
You know what? Let's give it a try. We'll start with Channel Bridge and we'll work our way up. Yeah. Manchester City away at Real Madrid tonight. Arsenal away at Club Bruges. Newcastle play Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League tonight.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Coity.
Still to come, pub landlords and fighting back against Labour MPs. We'll tell you why. Next in the papers, Charlotte Griffiths, Lewis Oakley, they're going to be here.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Heavy thundery downpours will continue to affect Cyprus as we go through tomorrow and into Friday, but this unsettled weather, it is going to ease as we head into the weekend. And actually, across many other parts around the Mediterranean, it's looking largely fine. Some decent sunshine to be had as well. Slightly different story, though, across much of Spain. A few outbreaks of rain around, and there is a band of rain sweeping in from the west, so that's going to turn things a bit wetter across Portugal and western Spain as we head towards the end of the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Introducing Leedon's, our beautiful residential park nestled in the heart of the Cotswolds. Close to the picturesque village of Broadway, Leedon's offers luxurious park homes for the over 50s. Whether contemporary or traditional, our bespoke and ready-made homes have a range of landscaping options. And our clubhouse offers numerous facilities, including a large indoor pool and bowling green. Call now or pop along to see a selection of homes for yourself.
Introducing U Plus, a new form of gym membership from Everyone Active. A comprehensive plan that covers movement, sleep, nutrition, recovery, brain health, and social wellness, all with expert content, advice, and support throughout your journey. Discover the healthier, improved you. We call it U+. Join today at everyoneactive.com/join.
Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other, where you'll find elegant design for every room in your home. Housing Units, where fresh ideas and inspiration are part of the experience. From our home to yours, explore new styles and offers in store and online. Housing Units, a home furnishing store like no other. Sale is now on.
Hi, I'm Richard from Aqua Warehouse in Chelmsford, and I just wanted to show you our amazing showroom. We have hot tubs, swim spas, outdoor kitchens, and even outdoor buildings. Our staff are friendly and knowledgeable. So come over and see us at Aqua Warehouse in Chelmsford. We'll see you soon.
You know, the Muscat story, our story, is really a classic immigrant story.
My great-great-grandfather emigrated from Eastern Europe and entered into the Lower East Side of Manhattan, where he did only what he knew, selling eyeglasses off of a pushcart.
Eventually, he opened a real shop where we stayed in the neighborhood for 110 years.
And 5 generations later, we've moved a couple of times.
But we're never leaving the Lower East Side.
And there's nothing more New York than that.
Delighted to have the company of Charlotte Griffiths. Charlotte is the editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, and Lewis Oakley, who's just large. I don't know, it's just you're at large. You're at large. Very good to see you guys. Did you see Santa on your way out?
We did, yeah.
He was my kid. I should have got a picture of him actually.
Yes,
to show my
you
kids.
should. The kids would love that.
I was too busy doing my work, reading the papers. I'm on the naughty list now.
Well, what did you read? What did you read that caught your eye that you wanted to speak about?
Well, shall we start with this Trump story? So Trump is to force all foreign tourists to provide 5 years of social media history before entering the US. Now, I have a personal issue with this. I did a TV debate recently where I had a load of Americans shouting at me that free speech is dead in our country, we can't say anything, we've got people arrested for social media posts. Well, look how the mighty have fallen. Now we can't even get into America unless we're handing over our social media posts. And this is the whole point. It's about free speech. So what, are people going to watch what they're saying around the world now about Trump and the administration because they're worried they might not be able to go there on holiday or go there for business? And to me, it's part of a wider push, really, around this whole digital ID thing that we're talking about in this country, which is everything you do now, from where you spend your money to what you say online, people want to collate it all together and judge you on it, and I'm really not here for any of it.
I wonder what's different to what is currently the case, because I was in the United States in September and I had to give over my social media handles for every platform.
Yeah.
At least I think it was a few weeks in advance. So, I mean, they're already looking through what you're posting.
They already are. I've already got friends who have not gone to America on holiday recently because they know they were rude about Donald Trump about 6 months ago. But I think that's the difference, is that it's about... People think it's about 6 months currently.
Right.
And what he's saying is it's 5 years. I mean... A lot of opinions have changed about Trump. Do you remember 5 years ago he was persona non grata?
Yeah.
And, you know, he's come on a real journey, a real arc in the last 5 years. So, you know, there may even be people like Zuckerberg who were rude about him 5 years ago who are now very nice to him. And a lot of those tech bros have now come full circle and like
Elon
Trump
Musk
again.
is now back in favour after their big falling out?
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's the same with all friendships. You know, things go up and down. I wouldn't like to think maybe what I said about my mother 5 years ago or something. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, 5 years is a long time. That's my point, really. You know, we often said things 5 years ago we don't really mean.
The devil will be in the detail here. What do they mean by social media? Are they going to look at private WhatsApp messages, DMs, those kind of things? And as you say, views change. And I just... If they're looking for people that could go over there and do nefarious things, fair enough. But if it's just that, oh, no, you didn't like what the president said...
Or
don't tell me you've got free speech.
Somebody might have said, thank God that guy's never coming back. Well, look at him now.
Charlotte, a number of no Labour MPs signs going up on pubs across the country. What's going on?
Yes, so we know that a pub closes every day and that 1 in 10 pubs... Only 1 in 10 pubs now are profitable, and there's a whole list of other things other ways in which pubs have been very badly affected by the latest budget. So a lot of pubs they've created these stickers to put in the windows saying no Labour MPs because they're so up in arms about the budget.
But you see, I look at this, Charlotte, and I think there is a crisis. There's no doubt. I don't care what political party you are. There is a crisis. You either want to keep pubs and what they stand for, or let them fold the way they're folding, because they are going out of business big time. In Gloucestershire, Jeremy Clarkson did a programme. He was looking to buy a pub, and in his area there were 40 pubs up for sale. 40.
That's so sad.
People just couldn't afford to make them work. So what are we asking, or what is the idea here that should happen, or things should change? You see, if I was an MP, I would say, right, guys, let's get together, go and do this immediately, find out something, and we have a pub task force.
Yeah, they should do. They should be totally supporting the hospitality industry, and especially pubs. You know, there are villages out there where the pub is the centre of the community. You've got the village green with the cricket, and you've got the pub. And even those pubs are closing, you know, let alone when there's 40 in the Cotswolds up for sale. There are places where there's one pub, and without that pub, you lose the heart of the community. And I think it would send an amazing message if the Labour Party and MPs who've been banned from the pub, especially local MPs, said, right, let's try and save this pub. Let's try and, you know, give better business relief rates instead of sort of giving up on the hospitality industry, which is what's happened.
I think life has come at Labour fast, hasn't it? They got in with this massive majority, and actually no one really likes them. I think that is the problem with our political system, right? The last election, people were so mad with the Tories that Labour sort of got in by default. They had less votes than when they were under Jeremy Corbyn. So this was always going to happen, of their policies are not actually as popular despite their big majority. And I think one of the things that this Labour government has done is it's just killing ambition. The amount of people I talk to now, like, oh, I'm going to reduce my hours, so I don't want to go into that tax bracket. Or even me, where I do a lot of different jobs, thinking, you know, what's the point? You know, probably this appearance today will all go to tax. You know, and that's how I look at, like, the month now. I'm like, OK, those ones I'll actually get paid for. Those ones will just be for tax. And it's not... And I'm not against paying tax, but the amount you pay now and how
it's hard. I mean, you'll say, I did a freelance job for GB News last week, and they'll say, oh, no, you didn't. Because 3 weeks ago you were with GB News, and then 6 weeks before that we put it to you, this is regular employment you're getting from GB News, and that's the sort of nonsense you have to deal with from...
I am worried about that.
Listen, let's talk about how people see themselves and how they see themselves differently over the past 6 or 7 years or so. This is Generation Z. Tell us more, Lewis.
Yes, so this is Gen Z. Now, the title is Young are 600% more likely to be gay than the over 60s, but I think they're missing a big point in this, which is that bisexuality, and obviously GB News viewers will know I write a lot on bisexuality, has actually now become the second most common sexuality after being straight. And I would say these numbers as well, they're just the tip of the iceberg. So I run an advice column, and the amount of men particularly that will email me and say, I'm bisexual, but I can't tell anyone, because there is still that stigma there. A lot of bisexual men will know women won't want to date me. The majority of women would not want to date a guy that's bisexual or has even had an experience with
Are many women bisexual?
Say again?
How many women are bisexual?
Well, so the women lead. So there is this idea, I don't think there's a difference, but women lead. Women, it's maybe not as taboo to say, you know, I find her attractive, or, you know, I may have been with a girl before, whereas for a guy, that's very defining. It's like, what? You've been with a man? And there's still that stigma there that's still existing today.
It's very Gen Z, isn't it? Because we kind of millennials, we're very much of the old school, like, you're either gay or you're straight, you know, and often being bi is a route from being gay to being straight. So it's interesting that Gen Z are much more fluid and much more relaxed about putting themselves into boxes.
But even millennials, I mean, this is saying 24 to 35-year-olds, they are more likely to be bisexual than be gay. And I think that it's time to put the focus on the bisexual stuff. You know, the stuff I do, the books I write, the podcasts I do, they're all really popular. But I think the mainstream media always has this focus on gay. We want the first gay Premier League footballer. There's, you know, bisexuality is really where it's at. But I would say that, wouldn't I?
Charlotte, let's finish with Meghan Markle, who we understand has now sent a letter to her father, who's in hospital.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a handwritten letter that's now made its way into his hands. And I find this very interesting because last week, several days ago now, her spokesperson said that she'd made contact with her father, but there didn't seem to be any proof that that had happened. You know, the nurses and the doctors were saying, we haven't heard from her, we haven't had a phone call. And then there was an idea that maybe she'd had an old email address. Then her father said, well, my phone number's never changed in all these years, and he's deliberately kept it the same because he's desperate to make contact with his daughter, and he checks his phone 100 times a day, hoping she's called. So the idea that she didn't have a way of contacting him. But now she's saying she's actually done a handwritten letter to him. Somehow it's made its way through trusted sources, she says, into his hands.
Is this the start of reconciliation, do you think?
I think it could be, and I think it's a lovely Christmas message, I have to say. There's a lot they have to work through. It's very, very not ideal between them. But, you know, it's just before Christmas. Harry's finally reconciled with his father, and, you know, it would be nice to see an end to all this conflict.
Well, it's been nice to see both of you today, Charlotte and Lewis. Thank you both very, very much indeed. We'll leave it there.
Let's have a look at the weather, shall we now, with Alex Burkell.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere, across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
New driver, George. How on earth did you afford that?
I got cash for my old gold and jewellery from Great British Gold.
Great British Gold? How does that work?
Oh, it's easy. You send them all your old gold and jewellery in a free envelope and they'll send the money right to you.
Sounds good.
It is. They value each piece, and if it's worth more than its weight in gold, they'll pay you a fair price.
Great shot!
Order your free envelope today by visiting greatbritishgold.co.uk.
When you've worked hard for everything you own, you need to trust the right people to protect it for your family's future. Inheritance Legal Services has been helping families with wills, trusts and powers of attorney for over 15 years. Our service is built on simplifying the will writing process with free advice. We offer a multi-award-winning fixed-fee service with appointments in our branches across East Anglia, or we can come and visit you at home. Inheritance Legal Services. Welcome to peace of mind. Call or visit today.
Meet James and James, the same business owner in parallel worlds. This James knows having the right business tech matters, so asked Technical Drive to manage all his business, IT and cybersecurity. This James did not, leaving his business vulnerable. One James sleeps well, thanks to Technical Drive. The other doesn't, worried about his recent cyber attack. No problem for this James, as he's enjoying the perks of his successful business. Drive your business forward with Technical Drive.
Candlelight is a trusted brand in candles and home fragrance. You'll find Candlelight in most garden centres, independents and other retailers across the UK. Looking for that perfect finishing touch for your home? Candlelight has been bringing style, luxury and beautiful fragrance to homes for decades. From elegant candles and room sprays to reed diffusers and wax melts, and now introducing our fragrance bath and body range for your holistic experience. Support local, discover Candlelight. Available now at your local stockist.
Discover comfort and style at Home Store Interiors in Swansea. As a blue badge holder, you can enjoy VAT-free reclining chairs and much more. Visit us today for the best in-home comfort, tailored just for you. Home Store Interiors, where everyone feels at home. Home Store Interiors, Gosynan Road, Swansea.
Welcome to Havran Furnishers in Llanidloes. For over 50 years, our family have been helping customers turn their houses into homes. Here in our 70,000 square foot showroom, we've got the biggest brands and quality to match. Always with free delivery. With a helping hand from Havran, you'll find what you love, here in the heart of Wales. Visit our showroom or go to havranfurnishers.co.uk.
Good morning. Fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from Britain.
The National Audit Office's 3-year investigation has found Labour's approach to migration is unrealistic and accommodation is causing significant costs.
Well, the report was heavily critical of the Home Office, stating that robust data gathering was not a priority and there was a culture of tolerating and working around data that is not fit for purpose.
Now, these findings raise fresh questions about the effectiveness of the government's immigration policies and any hope of fixing the crisis.
Breaking news this morning, GB News understands that Thomas Markle has received a letter from his daughter Meghan. It follows widespread claims that he had not heard from her since having emergency leg amputation surgery this week.
An alliance to finally stop the small boats fiasco? Nigel Farage has teamed up with the French presidential frontrunner as they plot a plan to stop channel crossings.
The first serving member of a British armed forces has been killed in Ukraine since the war began. That's been confirmed by the MOD. He died in what has been described as a tragic accident.
The Home Secretary has appointed Baroness Longfield to lead the national inquiry into grooming and rape gangs.
Well, she was a Labour peer until she resigned the whip yesterday, taking up this post. But there are already questions for the government's grooming inquiry. Will it investigate this fully?
A danger to life weather warning is in place as Storm Bram continues to batter Britain with a month's worth of rain and winds of up to 90 miles per hour.
The strongest winds and the heaviest rain from Storm Bram has now started to clear, but it is still going to be potentially stormy across some parts of Scotland today. I'll have more details coming up.
With you until 9:30. I hope we have your company on television, on radio, online. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
And I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Lots of you getting in touch this morning on Meghan Markle. Tony says what Meghan has done is indefensible, sadly. What she accuses her father of, she has done 100 times worse. She sold out the royal family and sold her story. Also, a lot of you getting in touch on Claudia Winkleman getting an MBE. That's on the front page of many of the papers today. Christabel says, Claudia getting an MBE. Please explain why. There are plenty of hardworking people who also do volunteer work and help with their neighbours. What about ambulance, fire and police service who really put their own safety on the line? I disagree with all these lovies rewarding the lovies.
Well, I'm sure Claudia's hardworking and probably does a lot of voluntary work as well.
Yeah.
Just say.
And Michael says, I work 7 days a week doing a job that I love. So do millions of people because we have to work these days. I'd love an MBE. Well done to her, but there are many others that deserve one.
France's presidential frontrunner Jordan Bardella is moving to forge an alliance with Reform UK leader Nigel Farage. He's doing that to restore Europe's borders after the pair held talks in London yesterday.
Yes, Mr Bardella is the leader of the National Rally Party and he pledged to change France's border policy to support Britain in tackling the Channel small boats crisis should he secure victory in next year's elections.
Well, the question is, could this alliance be the solution to finally putting an end to the chaos in the Channel?
Well, we're joined now by our chief political correspondent, Catherine Forster, who's in the studio with us. Morning to you, Catherine. This is very interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because we keep hearing these announcements of what the government is going to do in conjunction with France, and they seem to have no effect at all. I mean, the one-in, one-out deal, I think we've had about 140 sent back, and meanwhile many, many thousands have come in. But yes, he is currently the favourite to win the French election, and he's had this lunch with Nigel Farage. They seem to be very impressed with each other, and if we end up with him as President of France, Nigel Farage as Prime Minister, he has said that he will help us stop the boats because he would allow border force vessels to push boats back to the French coast. I think there are a lot of questions about how that might work in practice. I think it would be phenomenally difficult. Yes, they did it in Australia many years ago, but a bit different in the Pacific Ocean, and it stopped very quickly. I think the Channel would be altogether harder. But meanwhile, the government, David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, and the Attorney General, Richard Hermer, are in Strasbourg today. The Council of Europe are meeting. That is Europe's leading human rights organisation. They also deal with democracy, the rule of law. They are looking at refining how they apply the ECHR in a different time to when it was written. Let's see if anything comes of it. But the government are saying we need to look again at this.
Well, that's going to be a potential flashpoint, isn't it, with Labour backbenchers? Anyway, Catherine, thank you very much.
A new chair has finally been appointed to lead the long-delayed national inquiry into grooming gangs.
Yes, former Children's Commissioner Baroness Anne Longfield says she will not shy away from difficult truths as she takes on the 3-year, £65 million investigation.
Now, her appointment comes after months of setbacks, including candidates dropping out and members of the Victim Liaison Panel resigning amid concerns over the inquiry's scope.
Well, let's speak now to GB News national reporter Charlie Peters. Morning to you, Charlie.
Morning.
Lots of questions about this appointment and whether or not it's appropriate. What do you think?
Well, she was a Labour peer until yesterday, although the government will point out that she was appointed by David Cameron in 2015 as the Children's Commissioner. She supported governments, they say, of all stripes. But the curious thing about this appointment is that the survivors supporting the government in this inquiry were not consulted before. In fact, many people who were on or had resigned from that panel were messaging me yesterday morning ahead of the announcement at 12:30, asking me who the chair is. These are the people who are meant to be working with the government to support them in selecting a chair, had to ask a journalist who was going to be appointed. We were able to break the news through sources before the government confirmed it in Parliament yesterday. So the first that many of the survivors heard of who the chair was going to be was from GB News, not from the government. That's not really good enough for a lot of them, of course, especially as they believed they'd been selected on that panel to help choose a chair and the draft terms of reference. Those have also been published, so we have more information on what this inquiry is going to look like. Further questions for the government there as well, because these draft terms specifically refer to it starting in January 2000. Now, we've spoken to dozens of victims who were abused before that period, all across the country. Some of the worst offending has taken place in the north of England and the Midlands, trafficking from the 1970s. There are even cases in the 1960s that Sarah Champion, the MP for Rotherham, has spoken about in the past. Also, this draft terms of reference says it's not going to be an exhaustive inquiry. Really quite curious language, that. Wouldn't you want the inquiry to leave no stone unturned, as they say, to go beyond 2000 and be exhaustive? They say it won't look at every area. So some survivors speaking to GB News last night saying, well, will my area be included? So far, all we know is that it will look at Oldham. They had a local inquiry announced in January. That's been cancelled, now scrapped after 12 months. It's now going to be the first local investigation they launch. We also know that Baroness Longfield will go to Oldham in the new year to meet with survivors and also the council there to get that investigation up and running. It'll start in earnest in March. It's got a limit of 3 years. They want it to return before the next general election. But there's one more serious point I want to make about this inquiry. The draft terms of reference says that it will look at the background of the perpetrators and the victims. It will assess how ethnicity, religion and wider cultural factors played a role in the denial of this issue in local government and other institutions such as the police. But there's no reference there as to how those factors, ethnicity, religion and culture, could have played a role in the motivation of these crimes. A lot of these girls were targeted because they were white. The question for us is, will they ensure that motivations are part of this? Mike Tapp, the Home Office Minister, told us yesterday that would be the case, but until it's in the terms of reference, we're not going to be confident of that.
Charlie, got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Charlie.
Now, Ellie, did you go to youth club when you were younger?
No, did you?
No, but we could have the opportunity to do it now that we're older. We've got the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy. She's going to be talking about why the government wants to bring those back right after this.
We've got a special gift for you.
Oh, what's this? Oh,
Mum, you're going to be a nan. This Christmas, give the gift of a lifetime. Visit imaginator.co.uk to book your scan today.
Welcome to TPG Disable Aids. Here, we don't just sell the products, we provide the solutions that enhance and improve your life. At TPG Disable Aids, we believe that every customer's needs are unique. That's why we offer tailored assessments to ensure you find the right solution. From assessment to installation, we're with you every step of the way, ensuring your home remains accessible. Visit our showroom today or book your in-home assessment to find the right solution for you.
I trod on my glasses yesterday and I had to pay up front for a new pair that I can't even pick up for another 10 days. So I looked for another way and I found Select Specs. I ordered online, my new glasses just arrived this morning and I can pay over the next few weeks. This is the way to buy glasses.
See now, pay later with Select Specs. Next day delivery and deferred payment options. Only at selectspecs.com.
Hi! I had weight loss surgery to enjoy more time with my children.
I did it to help improve my type 2 diabetes.
I did it to enjoy long walks and to feel more healthy.
I did it to finally enjoy holidays.
I did it to be healthy for my family.
Tonic weight loss surgery are helping thousands of people nationwide get their lives back. Inquire today for a free consultation.
With a whopping 1-year warranty, I feel like part of the family.
With over 300 cars in stock, finding a reliable auto for me and Bruce was easy.
All brands, all styles, spot for choice.
1 year of roadside assistance, great for an adventurer like me. Reserve online and it's delivered to your doorstep. It's the future.
For the young at heart, all this and a 116-point check on all cars.
The Car Warehouse, Bridgend and Swansea. Buy with confidence.
Bruce! I paid £70 for these specs on the high street. Then I shopped around and paid £65 for these. So I looked for another way. And I found these at Select Specs for £6. Then I found 50 other styles for £6 too, all with anti-scratch prescription lenses included in the price. This is the way to buy glasses.
Prescription glasses from £6 a pair with lenses included. selectspecs.com/£6.
At this point in the morning, delighted to talk to the Culture Secretary. She's at... oh, no, we are going to talk to her, but we're going to do the Great British Giveaway first. Here we go.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money and it could be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
And I can now tell you, we have got the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nanny, standing by in Westminster, because you have a big project to talk about today, Lisa. You're unveiling plans, ambitious plans, to tackle youth isolation. And from what I see here, you plan to offer young people somewhere to go, something to do, something meaningful to do with people who care about them. Is this a variation on what in my day would have been called a youth club?
Well, we are investing in the new generation of youth clubs and youth workers. We saw 73% reductions in funding to youth services under the last government, and we think that's caused a major problem, because what we've found through this first comprehensive plan for young people that this country's had since the iPhone was invented is that far too many young people don't have places to go, like youth clubs, like sports clubs. They don't have meaningful things to do. A lot of working class children whose parents can't afford to pay have just been shut out from arts, music, sport, dance, drama. And most of all, what young people told us is that too many of them don't have adults that they trust, that they can turn to, whether it's their mum or dad, their youth worker, their teacher, whoever it is in their life who has the ability to help them navigate the really complex world that they're growing up in. So we're providing more youth workers, more support for mums, dads, adults around young people to make sure that we can help this generation to succeed.
How quickly will you be able to do all of that?
Well, we're not wasting a minute because the challenges are really acute. We found that all young people across the world are grappling with big challenges about what is happening in the online world, about needing to have meaningful activities and the crisis of loneliness. But England really is an outlier when it comes to loneliness and well-being of young people. Our problems are bigger, and we really haven't dealt with them as a country for far too long. So we'll start rolling out funding immediately. We're setting up new Young Futures hubs, which will make sure that when young people go to those places that they have the mental health workers, that they have the employment advice, they have all the things that they need there. That will start in March, but even before that, we'll start rolling out funding to existing facilities to make sure that they have the equipment that they need, the people that they need. And, you know, in my area in Wigan, we've got an amazing youth club. What we could use some more help with is things like transport to make sure that young people can get there. We'll be driven by what communities need and make sure that we get that funding out of the door and we get that investment into young people as soon as possible.
When we talk about this national inquiry into grooming gangs, after much pressure, you finally named a chair. That is Baroness Anne Longfield. Now, until yesterday, she was a Labour member in the House of Lords. She's since resigned the whip. But how can you reassure victims and survivors that this process is going to be impartial, that it's going to be independent, when you've got a chair who is so closely connected to the Labour Party?
Well, I've known Anne Longfield for over 20 years. I first met her when I was at the Children's Society working with children, including very early the victims of some of those grooming gang scandals, and she was a fearless and fierce advocate for children and young people then, speaking truth to power, and she's never ceased from that. So I believe she's absolutely the right person to do this inquiry, not just to get answers, but to get the action that has been denied to survivors of the grooming gangs for too long. But I do completely understand why so many survivors are sceptical about people in positions of authority. They've been let down over and over again. We've got to earn back their trust. We've got to earn their confidence by taking the action that they've been denied for too long. And I believe that Anne is precisely the right person to do that.
But are you earning back their trust when they were told they were going to be consulted on who the chair would be, that they were going to be spoken to about the terms of reference? And in fact, many of the survivors and victims telling GB News this morning that they found out who the chair of the National Inquiry was going to be on this very channel. The government has not spoken to them and they weren't consulted. So it looks as though you've failed them before you've even begun.
Look, there'll be different views amongst victims and survivors, and they are perfectly entitled to express those views, and we will, of course, always listen. But we promised action, and like you said at the very beginning, these things take too long, and for too long people have been denied not just answers but action. That's why we've named Anne Longfield as the chair of this inquiry, and she is meeting with victims and survivors this week to make sure that from the word go, they're at the centre of this process so that we get the right outcome.
Can we talk about this devastating report, this National Audit Office report, that essentially found that the Home Office doesn't know how many asylum seekers have absconded. They don't know the true cost of the asylum system to the British taxpayer. and also found that fewer than 1 in 10 failed asylum seekers are being deported from the UK. This is British taxpayers' money that we're talking about here. Is the Home Office even fit for purpose?
Well, the immigration system that we've had has not been fit for purpose for some time. We inherited a chaotic system from the last government who'd lost control of the borders, and the public need to have much greater confidence and trust in their immigration system. We've already taken steps to deal with this, including driving down the asylum backlog, so that if people don't have the right to be here, we can remove them. We hit record numbers of deportations in our first year in office, but today, the Deputy Prime Minister is in Strasbourg dealing with another problem with the system that we inherited, which is that the human rights framework, which is important, which protects people who need safety and sanctuary, is too often being used to game the system and prevent governments, successive governments, from getting control of the borders. Now, we think that that is a major problem that is undermining public trust, and David Lammy is over in Strasbourg today urging European leaders to work with us to make changes to that system.
Well, that's going to be a major flashpoint, isn't it, with Labour backbenchers, many who think the ECHR is sacrosanct. But anyway, bringing you back to the asylum seekers who have absconded, what are you going to do to find them and find out where they have gone? I mean, I don't need to remind you about that horrific case this week. 2 Afghan asylum seekers jailed for raping a 15-year-old schoolgirl. Other live cases that we can't even speak about at the moment. It's time to confront this, isn't it?
Well, that's absolutely right, and that case is horrific, and like you said, there have been others, and of course we've got to confront it. In that particular case and cases like this, we've also got to make sure that we're removing people who are a danger to the public and don't have the right to be here. It's right that they go through the criminal justice system here, it's right that they are jailed, but we've also got to make sure that then we have the ability to remove people. When it comes to asylum seekers absconding, the Home Secretary has been absolutely clear that she will not hesitate to take whatever action is needed in order to get a grip on this system. But the system that we inherited was clunky, creaking, outdated, belongs in the 1980s, not in this century, and particularly having proper tracking and monitoring systems, not just paper-based systems where you have people going off and searching for records that are incomplete or don't exist, is an important part of this. On every front, we're not wasting time in taking the action that people have told us loud and clear is long overdue.
And finally, Lisa, just wanted to ask your thoughts on these No Labour MP stickers that are popping up in pubs up and down the country. Labour MPs being banned from pubs. This is in protest to November's budget, saying that it's making things incredibly difficult for the hospitality industry. What do you say to that?
Well, I'm a big fan of my local pub, so I'm relieved that there hasn't been any of those stickers going up there. But I guess what I would say is this, is that I really get why people are incredibly frustrated. Over recent decades in this country, people have really struggled. We've had the biggest fall in living standards in Victorian times. We've got public services that are on their knees and an economy that is just not working for most people. We've promised that we will turn that around. That does mean, as the Chancellor said, that we've got to ask people to make more of a contribution, but because of that we're able to invest in our National Health Service, we're able to invest in transport, we're able to bring people's energy bills down, freeze prescription charges. We're not hesitating to pull every lever that we can to make life easier for people, but if we don't get this economy growing, then those businesses are the ones that will suffer.
Okay.
And so we're asking people to make a contribution, but we do recognise that that is difficult in the short term in order to provide the certainty and stability that people need for this country to thrive.
Culture Secretary, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time this morning and good luck with your youth clubs. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Britain's Newsroom is coming up at 9:30. Andrew and Miriam are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
Well, we're looking at the cost of our failing asylum system, billions and billions being spent, and also what a French presidential hopeful might do about it. That's all after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good
Good morning, this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Storm Bram is now clearing away, and whilst the strongest winds have started to ease, it's worth bearing in mind there will still be some particularly wet and windy weather around, potentially even stormy weather across some parts of Scotland in particular, particularly towards the north and west. Heavy bursts of showery rain and still some strong winds continuing through much of the day. A drier story further south, but even here a few showery bursts are possible. More in the way of sunshine though, particularly across central eastern parts of England. And with that, temperatures actually still a few degrees above average for the time of year. Obviously, yes, the blustery winds will make it feel a little bit fresher than those temperatures suggest, but nonetheless relatively mild for this stage in December. As we go through the end of the day, well, it's staying pretty windy and also wet at times across much of Scotland. Outbreaks of heavy rain and gusts continuing to reach around 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour as we go through the rest of today. A drier story across parts of Northern Ireland, but quite cloudy. A few spots of rain for some parts of northwest England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it's a dry story with clear skies. And with those clear skies and those winds easing out further, there's the potential that we will see a few pockets of mist and fog developing as we go through the early hours of tomorrow morning, particularly in some prone spots towards central and eastern parts. Worth bearing in mind, a bit of rain also starting to push into the far west of Northern Ireland. Most places will have another relatively mild night, but where we get those clearer skies across central and eastern England, it is going to be a bit chillier than it has been through some recent nights. That rain that I mentioned then starting to push into Northern Ireland will continue its progress a little bit further eastwards as we go through the day, so much of Northern Ireland turning wet by the time we get to lunchtime. Also rain spreading across much of Scotland, especially towards the west. Staying dry across England and Wales, albeit cloud building as we go through the day, and temperatures still a few degrees above average for the time of year.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
The bank's written to say our savings rate's gone down again.
Guess we'll just have to tighten our belts.
Or you could try moneyfactscompare.co.uk. It shows you the best savings rates available to you in minutes. It's totally independent, so you can trust what it says. With moneyfactscompare.co.uk, you could be earning hundreds more in interest every year.
The pig's talking again, dear.
Funny old thing.
Don't ignore better savings rates. Visit moneyfactscompare.co.uk today.
At Holton Stairlifts, we specialise in stocking and fitting stairlifts with free home service.